Go on. Good evening, Bigfoot fans, Dogman fans, and all the above. Cryptid, we got a
Hello,
whale of a
hello.
show for us. If I, unfortunately, I'm not hugely familiar with this great guest. I know we got a great guest. If there ever was a female Kumbo, as I was saying backstage, reading some of the stuff on our website, we've got back-to-back Kumbo episodes here. So, but anyway, Jessica, it's great to have you on tonight. And that's my fault. I'm going to start watching your show and et cetera, and start catching up on what.
You can.
I guess tonight we're going to hear a lot about what you are and what you do and all that good stuff. I know everybody else here probably knows you much better than I do, but this is
And
why we
about
do
the
this
great
show.
state
I
of
like
Georgia from the southern part of the country.
From the deep south.
Can you believe that? That's one on Daniel's son tonight.
Daniel's got the first one.
Daniel's got the first interruption tonight. But anyway,
Yes.
Well, I can tell you that,
aggravate
It wasn't
me.
me this time.
I can tell you that I watched Jessica's show.
One and one, yes.
And you can't. Every day is different. Every topic is something. I love it. It's like, anyway. It's just I love her show.
Well, when I started this with Jeff, I said, I don't want to do Bigfoot all the time, and it's kind of gotten in that direction, but that's okay. I mean, because we've learned a lot, we've listened a lot, and met a lot of great people, and I like to hear about Dogman for one, and I think we got a guest tonight. Is probably I just found out that the Hocking Hills area has got that Bigfoot festival this weekend in Ohio. I was talking to Bigfoot Bud about that. But it's a little late for me to make plans to go there, taking care of parents and stuff, or my dad. So I probably can't make that this year, and I do have the Saturday off from pulling. I could have went. That's what really aggravates me. But anyway, okay. Danny's doing good. We talked to you earlier today. Jeffrey's Jeffrey. So it's the same old Jeffrey, right? Hi, Jeff. How you doing, buddy? Turn your microphone on, silly.
I'm good. It was hotter than hell today, but other than that, I got stuff moved around, got some manure cleaned up around some of the barns since it decided to have a flood yesterday.
Jeff, you're always talking shit. You know that?
Hey, I got dairy cows and beef. What else do I do?
I know.
If you're not talking crap, you're dealing with crap.
That's right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We're going to have the book of Dannyisms. We're going to have to write that.
And if you keep an eye in chat, I think you're going to see the other brother, Brother Blaylock, was in our chat a little earlier, a little while ago.
Yeah,
and,
I just saw him.
Is he in chat? Okay.
Yep.
He said he was. Did you send him a link? I didn't know if he was able to.
I sent it to him.
Okay. If he tries, fine. If not, then.
Hey, Robbie. Yes, I am awake, Robbie.
He says buffering badly, so.
Oh, okay. Cool. Chat's your best bet then. Okay. Jessica, it's all about you. We're going to turn the floor over to you, and just tell us. I know a lot of people know who you are. I want to learn Tell us who you are, what you do, and what got you in this crazy world of Bigfoot, cryptids.
Oh man. Well, hey, it's nice to meet everybody. And Chad, I've been knowing you. And so yeah, thank y'all for having me tonight. And yeah, I love talking about Bigfoot, Dogman, all that stuff. I have been a field researcher, boots on the ground field researcher since 2011. And I was not public for over 10 years talking about any of this. With any of my research, I'm on several different field research teams, all based here in the South. Some of them, I mean, mostly all over the southeastern U.S. And I have researched with some of the best out there, and I still do. I've actually got a son, my kid, he's 12, and I started taking him out a couple of years ago, and so he's learning from the best as well, of course. But yeah, I like I said, I wasn't public about any of this, and when I was asked to speak at a conference about 5 years ago. And I agreed reluctantly, and that just snowballed me into being here with y'all tonight. Okay. And talking about it. I never wanted to, but I did. Okay. And because, back when I first started getting into the Bigfoot phenomenon, it was not popular at all. And so I never meant to like set out to be a Bigfoot field researcher. It just kind of came across my path. And I had never had an encounter that I knew of with Bigfoot or any kind of cryptid. Until I went on my first expedition up in North Georgia. I am based out of Georgia. I live in Northwest Georgia. I do have a YouTube channel today, and I do 4 live shows a week. I never in a million years thought I'd be talking about Bigfoot and Dogman for fun, for every day, for a living, basically. But here I am, and I see some of my fellow friends, researchers in the chat tonight. And what's up? I see Robbie in there. What's up, Robbie? Robbie Rains. And I've taken Robbie to one of my research spots a couple of times. We've had some very interesting activity out there up in North Georgia. But okay, so it kind of came across my path. Okay, I grew up being very much into the paranormal, supernatural, and when I was a little kid, I was very much into astronomy, and I wanted to be an astronomer. Okay. And I would go outside at night and I would look up at the stars. I grew up on a farm out in the middle of nowhere in Georgia. We had a cattle farm, Black Angus, and had a 40-acre lake and grew up in a log cabin. Sometimes I'm not going to tell you details on that, but it was like Little House on the Prairie. Okay. Where I lived. Cool. But it was cool. It was really cool. But I would go outside at night and I would look for UFOs. And that was very unusual. Okay, because I don't think any of my friends were doing that. But anyways, I was very much into like ghosts and all that stuff. And I always felt like something was watching me my entire childhood when I was sleeping at night. It didn't help that I had like a rocking chair full of clown dolls across from my bed.
Oh, boy.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Thanks, Mom. Thanks, Dad.
Yeah, clown dolls.
Lit those clown dolls on fire.
Yeah.
Oh, but to top that off, we had a taxiderm deer and owl. My dad had found a dead owl. Okay. And he had a taxiderm with his wings spread and it was like attacking. And that was in my bedroom too. So whenever the lightning would strike, I would see clowns and the owl. Okay. In my bedroom. So I started out being tough. Yeah, I was tough.
Clown dolls.
Hey, as long as the clown isn't on top of the owl, you'll be fine.
I don't know. It might have been. I have no idea. I don't know. I covered my head up a lot. But anyways, I did. So I was very much in tune with like the paranormal. I did see ghosts. I saw dead people growing up. Kind of like that movie. I see dead people. And,
Sixth Sense. Yeah.
Yeah. And I would see dead people. And I come from a long line of very psychically switched on, my mom, my, relatives, my mom, my grandmother, my great grandmother, my dad's side of the family, very much, he grew up in a very rich history, an area of rich history, like with Civil War battles and things like that going on in our town. And, like the Union troops came and took over my great-grandparents' house, my great-great-grandparents' house they built. And all the generals stayed there. And it's just, we have a rich history back where I live. Okay. On my family's land. And so I was just very much inclined to I wanted to learn about ghost hunting and all that kind of stuff. I got all the ghost hunting equipment when I was in my early 20s. Of course, had a lot of friends and family who passed away. So I was very much, that's what really kind of catapulted me into all this. I wanted to talk to my brother. I want to talk to my grandparents and my aunts and my friends that had died. And so I got into that, and that kind of led me on this path to like meet up with these people who were giving this lecture about their Bigfoot field research up in North Georgia. And my mom was like, hey, go over to Mr. Sam's house with me tonight. These guys are coming to talk about their Bigfoot field research. I think you'll like this. And so I went, and I had so many questions. I was like, man, I want to see a Bigfoot for myself. And the guys they saw that I was very interested in this. And I was like, well, where's the Bigfoot poop? Why have you not found a body? Where are the bodies at? And it turned out all these gentlemen were very seasoned Bigfoot field researchers. Most of them were retired military. They were search and rescue guys, cave divers, and medics in the military, special forces kind of guys and stuff. And they had been researching this one particular area of Georgia with their Bigfoots for decades. And they knew they'd already found Bigfoot. They knew Bigfoot was real. They were just waiting for the rest of the world to catch up with what they had already learned, right? And they were actually on the next level of communicating with Bigfoot. And that's where they were when I met them. Was like, well, two of them were highly trained in this thing called remote viewing that the military utilizes, and for psychic spies. Okay, and so they started using that in our U.S. government and our military back in the 1960s during the Cold War to compete against Russia, basically. Okay, and so not to get into detail, I don't even know the details. Okay, but there were two guys that were trained in that through the military training, and they were utilizing that as far as like the telepathy aspect goes with Bigfoot, the mind, body, spirit aspect of Bigfoot. Okay, and I thought, man, that was just fantastic. I don't know how it works, but I'm intrigued, and they ended up inviting me to an expedition right there on the spot, and it was a 4-man team back then. And they said, hey, meet us in October. We'll put you on our email list and come out. We're going to bring our friends and family out for this expedition up in North Georgia. And I was like, well, shoot, yeah, I'll be there. And so I went out. I was like, well, if I'm going to see a Bigfoot, what better way to do it than going out in the woods with some strange dudes I don't know, camping with a bunch of strangers.
At least with the military, I mean, you got some protection there.
Yeah, oh yeah. Well, listen, if I didn't feel safe, I wouldn't have gone. And they were friends with my friends, people that I knew and stuff. And so, my mother's the one who invited me to this get together they were speaking at, and she's friends with their friends, and we're all friends. Okay. So, but I didn't know them, but now they're like my family, all of them.
Oh, that's the way Bigfoot people are. I mean, we're like one big family.
Absolutely.
We're all a bunch of weirdos, and I love it.
Weirdos unite. That's right. Yeah. Well, I went out there, and I went on that first expedition, and that was back in 2011, the end of 2011. It was like November, October, something like that. And I had so much wild and crazy activity out there that I wouldn't be here today talking to y'all about this if all that had not happened to me that weekend. And we're talking about Bigfoot activity. We're talking about missing time. We're talking about UFOs and orbs and like craft, like hovering over my head. And like, it was just something invisible ran up behind me and knocked my legs out from behind me. It was just one thing after another that entire weekend that I was on that expedition. It was crazy.
That'd be cool.
That's awesome. Sorry, that's awesome.
Maybe.
That was great. It was terrifying. But of course I left and I was like, they were joking around with me. They're like, well, maybe Jessica has alien hybrid babies now somewhere. I was like, oh, assholes. Pardon my French. I was like, I came out here to see a Bigfoot. Now I'm leaving to say, with an alien abduction. And they're like, say no to probes, and it didn't help. But it was fun. It was interesting. It got my attention, and my entire paradigm shifted, like my reality shifted after that expedition, because I knew these things were probably real, but I got to see it for myself. So
you did what I did on my first expedition. I went to a farm a friend's farm, and I did not know them. I did not know anybody. I was like point blank, didn't know a soul. They didn't know me, and I had a blast. And I even saw, that's when I saw had my first sighting, and I didn't know what I was doing. Had no equipment. I just had me, my tent, and a cot.
Me too. Same thing. I had no idea what I was doing. I still don't know what I'm doing. Okay, but I'm a little more aware at this point. Okay, but it was fun. Yes, I am a cryptid maggot. I said maggot.
Magnet.
Wow.
Magnet. Enunciate.
Hey,
Look who joined.
David Blaylock. Welcome aboard, Mr. Blaylock.
Thank you. I'm glad to actually be able to get on here.
Yeah, it's actually working. It's awesome.
Yeah. I
We
just
tried to get him on for Kumbo's episode, and his microphone was not cooperating with us.
Hey, it's nice to meet you.
you too.
Thank you.
Continue, Jessica. I'm
What do you
sorry.
want me to continue? Okay. Well, I guess we're just kind of
Just
getting into like how I
tell-
got into it.
tell all of it.
We're just gonna
Yeah.
talk.
Perfect.
We're not one of those professional channels. Don't worry about trying to uphold
Okay.
some sort of.
Speak for yourself, young man.
Some
Based
standard
off
or something?
story.
Okay. You know what, Jerry? I was going to tell you, you do remind me. You could be my friend Dave Scott's first cousin. You do kind of look like Dave. Y'all know Dave?
Is
He's
your
not-
friend
he's-
Paul? Is your
I
friend
keep
Paul?
looking at Jerry. I'm like, man, he looks like Dave Scott. Okay. But yes, Dave. I won't tell Dave he needs to holler at you. Y'all could definitely be related. Okay. And I love Dave. Dave's one of my best friends, by the way. I love him to death. But anyways, okay. So it kind of opened up the aperture, so to speak, of like my reality when it came to all things like paranormal, the cryptid world. I experienced things that weren't supposed to exist, you know, and I had a huge interest in like speaking to the dead and like doing these ghost box sessions back before people had those little ghost boxes that you can just put in your pocket. I used to, this is wild, after my brother had passed away about 20, well, at this point it's been 20 years in an accident, but this was, you know, about 5 years or so after he died. This man named Christopher Moon was coming to Atlanta. I live in Georgia. He's coming to Atlanta. You could like pay to go get like a session with him with his ghost box, this Edison's phone to the dead or something like that. And I was like, shoot, yeah, I want to go, you know, I want to go check on all my dead, you know, loved ones and stuff. And so I ended up doing like 2 or 3 sessions with him over the years. And it was absolutely wild. I just thought it was really cool. And that's what kind of piqued my interest in this. And that's how I kind of progressively moved into the cryptid stuff. It's almost like a tiered level of stuff. Like you start off getting interested in like paranormal, you have an experience, you start doing the ghost thing, and then Bigfoot rolls around. And now I'm on skinwalkers and dogmen right now. And I've hiked 5-6 miles into the forest in Alabama, set up my hammock, and I camp right where dogmen are. Okay. That's what I'm doing today. But anyways, it
You
is
got
a
some kahunas.
progression. Oh, I love it.
Hey, I sleep in those hammocks too. They're great.
Yeah, I love it. I love it with a tent. I mean, like with a tarp over it. Well, if you're hiking in, you don't want to carry anything heavy.
No, I can't carry the tent that I like.
Yeah. Here's Greg. Hey, Greg. Probing. Say
He's
no to
being
probe,
honored.
Joel. Just saying. Yeah. But okay, so we got into the whole, you know, got into the Bigfoot stuff. I for the longest time I had not seen a Bigfoot, but I was having all these other experiences out there with them where we're hearing them. You know, the other people, I didn't have any equipment. I had no thermal, I had no FLIR, I had no night vision or anything. And I'm walking, and the guys are down at the bottom of this hill. I was used as Bigfoot bait, of course. That was my first experience.
Yeah.
They use you as bait.
I volunteered as tribute. Yes, I was Bigfoot bait.
I heard that's what happens to all rookies is when you go out like your first few times, you're the bait.
It's initiation. Well, here's the thing about that. Like there is an initiation, but it was not only was I getting initiated, it was kind of like an unspoken thing. It was kind of a joke. But I think that there was some other entity out there that was getting initiated too by running up behind me and hitting me and then running off and being invisible. I couldn't see it. Okay. So in my mind, like I've had a lot of time to think about this. It's like, I think that was, they were being dared to do that to me, and I was being dared to go up there and try to find them by myself. Okay, so, but that's kind of how it works, I guess. And okay, so I don't know. Should I get into like that whole weekend and like tell you how intense it got?
The floor is all yours.
Please
You tell
do.
us what
Please
you want to
do.
tell us.
The floor is yours.
I don't want it to be a 3-hour show tonight, y'all. But
Hey, we did 4.5 hours last week.
no, we're not going that long, y'all.
No, not again.
I can't go
But
that.
You know how
Okay,
much
so-
caffeine I ingested that evening?
Probably a lot. But okay, so that first night when I was being Bigfoot bait, the guys had said, hey, walk up this tree line. We're in this open field. Robbie's been there. Okay, who's in the chat? There's an open field. They're like, hey, walk up to that tree line. It's about 75 yards, something like that, up this hill in an open field with woods all around it, in the middle of nowhere, in the woods, in the mountains. And so I was like, yeah, okay, cool. I didn't turn my flashlight on. I didn't turn a headlamp on. I had nothing but some snacks in my backpack or something. And so I took off walking by myself, and they're like, hey, just make it up to that tree line. And then just, we're going to watch you with our night vision and our FLIR and our thermals. And I was like, well, if anything happens to me, at least they'll know. They can tell my mom, they can call my mom and tell her that, Bigfoot ate me or something. And I was totally ready. I was gung ho. I was wild and free back then. I didn't have a kid or anything. And so I was like, yeah, I started walking, and I got about halfway up this hill, and I heard one of the guys running behind me, like heavy footsteps. And I played sports in college. I played rugby for my college. Okay. So I know what it's like when you're about to get tackled. And that's the exact feeling that I had. I kept thinking, man, that is not professional of these men to like scare me like this. Like, why are they doing this? And I kept kind of walking because I knew they were watching me. And so I kind of like braced for impact because I thought these guys were about to run into me. And
Sorry, I don't know why that happened. I apologize. I have
it's a
train wreck.
button that happens. So the guys, it sounded like somebody was about to run up and say "boo," like that's what I was expecting. And so I just kept kind of walking. I was trying to slow down because I was bracing for impact. I thought they were going to try to scare me. And whenever he got up right behind me, I say he because I thought it was one of the guys. Something swept my legs out from underneath me, and it ran to my left behind me, and my hair moved. I could hear it. I could feel it. And I looked, and I was like, whoa. And I didn't fall down, but I looked over, and there was nobody there. And I was like, what in the hell was that? And so in my rational brain, because we got to use our rational brain first. Okay. I was trying to rationalize like what had happened. I thought, well, maybe I had fallen in a hole. I think I tripped over a log. A limb hit my leg. Anything but what just happened. Anything. And or maybe I'm just not seeing. Maybe somebody ran really fast. I don't know. I a million things went through my mind. But when I looked around and there was nobody there, I thought, well, maybe I'm just really scared and my mind's playing tricks on me. And I don't want to look like a baby, so I'm going to just keep on walking because they're watching me. And so I just kept kind of going towards the tree line. And about that time, I heard some footsteps coming up behind me, and it was one of the team guys. And he was like, "Hey, are you okay? We saw you kind of throw your hands up in there a little bit, when I kind of jumped." And I was like, "No, I'm fine." I told him what happened, and we went back and we inspected the area. And he was like, "Well, we saw there's nothing there for me to trip on." And he goes, "Well, have you ever heard of a cloaked Bigfoot?" And I was like, "No." I was like, I'm trying to wrap my head around Bigfoot. Now you're telling me they're invisible? And he was like, well, maybe. He's like, I'm not saying that's what it is, but it could have been. And as we're talking, we walk up to that tree line together, and the guys down at the bottom of the hill are watching. And JT, one of the guys, was watching. I was pulled over to the corner of this field, and I'm walking over there by myself, and I stand right in front of this tree, and I can't see because it's pitch black out there. It's totally dark. He said that a Bigfoot actually looked out from behind the tree and was staring at me face to face right in front of me, and I couldn't even see it. And I didn't have a radio. He couldn't radio to us or anything. I didn't have a radio. Neither did Craig.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was cool. So that was my first night. Well, the next night we decided, hey, let's go back up to that field. We left base camp around 3:00 in the afternoon. We went back up to that field. And me and JT, the guy who saw the Bigfoot, we sat there from 3 in the afternoon until 1:00 in the morning, about 12 or 1 that morning. And we were going to like kind of blend into the environment and kind of get back to back behind a tree. We were hoping that a Bigfoot would like walk out on this game trail right there and like step on us. Because the plan was like the team was going to come out at 9 or 10 o'clock at night, and they were going to set up shop and be loud and play music and laugh and, just be weird campers, acting normal out there. And then the Bigfoots would get curious. They'd walk up down that game trail and they'd step on me or step on JT. And so that was our plan. Well, while we were waiting for the team to get out there that night, we had been sitting out there all daggum day. And we were I'm not gonna lie, I was getting a little tired, but I kind of wasn't. My adrenaline was going. And as it started to get dark, we started seeing these lights. Like we saw this light that was like going back and forth across the mountain beside us. And it was in a straight line going back and forth. And it was like, what in the world? We were thinking, is that somebody carrying a lantern, walking down a trail? Is it headlights? Well, there's no trail that goes straight across like that. And it was on top of the trees. It wasn't inside the trees. It was on top of them. So we're seeing that. We're also seeing airplanes way up in the sky. This is out in the middle of Appalachia, y'all. You can see the Milky Way. It's beautiful out there. But we were seeing like airplanes moving in triangular patterns. That didn't make sense. So we're seeing that. We're like, dang. Eventually when the team came out there, like I remember getting like really, really tired at one point, but I just thought I was getting tired. And I didn't pay much mind to it. We started noticing, like we were checking our equipment and like the time on our equipment, the digital equipment. My equipment had gone forward an hour and JT's equipment had gone backwards an hour. And we were like, well, that's weird. Okay, there's all this weird stuff happening right now. And we're in the middle of nowhere by ourselves. We've been dropped off there. And so we're thinking, well, that's weird too. Well, the team came out. They did their thing. They were being all loud and whatever. And me and JT are sitting there just waiting for a Bigfoot to step on us. And the team was talking about how later on they said, well, there were these red lights in the trees and they thought it was us. It was about 10 feet from where we were sitting. And it wasn't us. Okay, so like red lights, red orbs, almost like it sounded like it was like robotic or something. It was weird. Stuff was in the woods right beside us. So anyway, that long story short, 1 o'clock in the morning, we went back to camp, and the head of that team was like, well, hey, I've always wondered about this, but now I know there's definitely some kind of ET element to this Bigfoot thing we're doing out here. He was like, because we invite Jessica out here and all of a sudden ET starts showing up, and so that's kind of where everything started moving for me as a researcher. They ended up inviting me to join their team, and I was like, yeah, I guess so. I have no choice now. I got alien hybrid babies out there somewhere, and so I got to keep coming out here with y'all now. But yeah, that's kind of how it started. It was so weird, some of the stuff that was happening to us out in the field and future expeditions. The head of that team was like, hey, if you guys want, I will teach you guys remote viewing, the military styles, the modes of that. And that would be a great way for us to advance our research out in the field is by having the psychic connection, learning about telepathy and whatever the psychic skills are, because there's much more to Bigfoot than just vocalizations and stuff. They're actually very much like with the other cryptids on more of a telepathic communication type of a level out there. And that's just the way it is. I'm sorry. That's just what we know. That's what I know. That's what I've learned. And that's what our team focuses on out there. That one particular team that I'm on, we don't take a ton of equipment out in the field with us. We're out there for the experience. We're not out there to like measure stuff. You know what I mean? And like prove to the world that Bigfoot's real. I've never been out there, even on my shows. I'm not there to like prove, like I got to show you proof that Bigfoot's real. I'm going to tell you my stories. Y'all can listen to them, and you don't have to listen to me if you don't want to.
That's right.
And that's the way I look at it. I love it when my guests come on and my teammates come on and they do show their evidence. I've got evidence too. Shoot, I got all sorts of it. But that's not my main goal, is to be like, oh, I measured this, and I show you my, I mean, we do a lot of, we've had a lot of crazy stuff that's happened. Like we actually even documented a portal and sent teammates into it and have it on video and things like that. I mean, that's how crazy things get out there.
A question.
Uh-huh. Yes.
So you sent people into it. I mean, can you tell me what happened or if anything happened?
Yes.
Or?
Oh, they've both passed away now, actually, both of those gentlemen.
Oh, Okay.
And so we have, all right, so that's another team that I'm on, but those guys are on the first team that I'm on too. So we're all located in different parts, of the Southeast. And one of my teams, they kind of broke off with my buddy Trey, and we have this group called the Anomalous Studies and Observation Group, and we have this thing we work on called the Meadow Project, and it's at an undisclosed location here in the South, and that is the team that is, I'm going to say, public, and a lot of the things that I talk about, that I can talk about from all my research, stem from that team out there, because Trey wrote a book, and so he had us all sign NDAs at first, and so I don't know. So we didn't ever talk about any of that stuff. But now he wrote a couple of books now, so we talk about it. And you might see there's documentaries and stuff on YouTube channels and stuff. You'll see it out there. It's called the Meadow Project. But anyways, so that's another team. That's one of the teams that does all the measurements and stuff. Okay, we're out there getting the data. So it's a fun team, and I have a lot of fun out there, and we have a long history at this place. It's another location. Okay, a lot of the places we research are on national parks and state parks and things. I got some stories about state parks in Georgia I've been called out to for interesting reasons, for Bigfoot sightings and stuff. I can tell you all about in a minute.
Do you see a lot of your calls are at state parks and in areas
Yes.
near state parks?
Not all of them. I just did a full investigation out at a private farm, private property on last Thursday, here in Northwest Georgia. I can't say exactly where it's at, but it's around this corridor where we're having a lot of dogman encounters and a lot of Bigfoot. But recently, there's been a lot of werewolf. There's a werewolf attack last year up in Rome, Floyd County. But this woman has her family has not only dogman, Bigfoot. She's got a shapeshifter out there as well. I'll tell you all about that in a minute too, if you want to hear about it. Okay. So the Meadow Project, the portal. All right. There's so much stuff that goes on out there. We started researching that place about, oh God, what do I want to say? I can't remember how long ago it was. It was a long time ago, probably like 2017, 2015, maybe. Okay. And I think that's when we first started going out there. But I personally don't go out there as much as I used to. I've had some really wild stuff happen. I was actually hiking into the woods one night out there with my friend Tim. He's one of the guys who went in the portal. He's since passed away. But Tim and I and his daughter was with us. Tim was having some health issues after all that happened. I'm telling y'all, radiation is an issue for us out there. Doing this research. But we were hiking into the meadow.
You have a Geiger counter?
Yes, we have Geiger meters. Yes, we do. Yeah, we take base readings every day, all throughout the day and stuff at the places we're researching. And then we watch as we're having activity happen, it spikes every time, just about every time. Just a tiny little spike. That includes like UFO sightings, any kind of like anything that's going on out there. A lot of times there's a little spike of radiation. And you listen, all those little spikes add up. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And but I was hiking in there one night, and this is way before I was ever public, y'all, with all this stuff. And he and I were hiking in, and we were passing this. I'm just gonna say a body of running water. Okay, running water out there, and I was like, I think I was kind of in the middle. Maybe I was in the back. Can't remember. But I went by this running part of the water. Like a white noise kind of thing was kind of going on. And I just crossed over that, and I heard a woman's voice across the creek. Now this is full of snakes, probably alligators for all I know. I don't know, all sorts of weird stuff. And I heard a woman from across the creek, which is absolutely impossible to get to, especially in the middle of the night. She screamed, "Time travel!" like really loud. And I was like, what? I was like, did y'all just hear that? And Tim was like, no, I don't even know what you're talking about. And he's like, I didn't hear it. And his daughter's like, no, I didn't hear it either. And I was like, well, that was just so weird. But so much weird stuff happens. It happens. And I'm like, well, that was weird. Let's just keep it moving. Right. And it took me, I'm going to tell you, it took me at least 2 weeks, maybe more. When I kept repeating that over and over again in my head, time travel. And then it dawned on me one day, I was like, that was my voice. Oh my God, that was my voice. It was me. I'm the one that said time travel from across the creek.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So
That-
whatever it
wow.
was mimicking you.
Or it was me. I don't know. I know it sounds really weird, but see, time is just an illusion out there at the meadow. And I do, it is so weird because over the past decade, 2 decades now, I've been doing a lot of research and dealing with a lot of people who deal in time travel and stuff as well. So I like to think that maybe one day I get my hands on some time travel technology. That's what I like to think. I don't know. Am I a time traveler? Yes, I think so. Maybe. Don't put me in a loony bin. Okay. Don't put me in the psychiatric ward yet. All right. But that did happen. Okay. So let's go back to the meadow. Okay. So I was hiking in the meadow. Okay. So the biggest thing that's ever happened out there has been a few things. A lot of it revolves around ET. It's not so much Bigfoot and stuff out there. Although there are cryptids out there. Okay, there are, but there is it's a big opening. I'm gonna say about a couple acres maybe of just an open meadow, and then like all the surrounding area is just a bunch of trees. It takes a long time to hike into this place. Okay, and so you hike in, and we just pretty much would set up shop, and we'd break into small teams. You know, that one team anytime we'd have 12 people out there, 8 people, 6 people, sometimes more. And we break off into like groups of 2 or 3, post up around this area. Well, this particular weekend, I was there Friday night. I had to leave Saturday because I had a small child at home. Okay, my son, he was really little back then, and so I left Saturday evening, right before they went back into the meadow that night. And when I got home, I'm going to preface what happened by what happened at my house at the same time they're having the portal. So I go home. I was married at the time, and my child's dad, my husband at the time, he was like in the living room, and my son was on this elliptical machine, and he was like being all cute and like riding the elliptical machine. And his dad was filming him on his camera phone, and he was like, he started noticing there was like these little balls of light floating around my son, but he could only see them through the camera on the screen on his camera phone. And my son was like, kept looking and at them, and he's filming them. So I have the video. You can see my son watching these orbs, balls of light, dance around his head. Yes, Chad.
Like on school. How old was your son at this time?
Well, okay, I'm going to say he was around 3.
Okay,
he was around 3 years old. Yeah, he's 12 now. Okay.
So,
because he had on his pull-ups underwear. Okay, that's the reason. That's the reason I've never been able to show this video to the public because he's wearing his little pull-ups.
Yeah,
Jeff
that doesn't
wears
really
them,
change.
so,
Jeff wears them too.
How old are you,
so-
Jeff? Jeff's like 35, 36.
30, yeah. Well, it's comes full circle eventually,
Gary.
All right, 37.
right? Okay, so my
Don't
son.
never wish to be older. Trust me.
Exactly. All right, so I get called into the living room, and he's like, "Hey, you need to come in here and see this." And I walk into the living room. You can hear in this video. I'm like, "Oh, what are those?" And he's like, and he goes, "These are little orbs dancing around Ben." My son's name is Ben. He was like, there's like little orbs or something. And I kept looking at him. You can hear me in the video. I'm like, are those bugs? Like, what in the world? They were just ping pong sized white balls of light, and they were dancing around my son, and they were going all over the room. And we didn't have orbs at the house ever. Okay, I've seen them before, but this is the first time that we'd had those. And so my son's seeing them. He's pointing at them. He's watching them. I'm seeing them with my eyes. I'm watching them. My husband at the time could not see them except for through his device. And eventually one of them flew into the camera, and it turned the power off on his phone. All right, so that happened at the exact same moment, just about, that my team is out. Sorry, my camera keeps kind of sliding down. My team is out in the meadow at the same time this is happening at my house. They're in these different groups, and they're all kind of like just sitting around this open field, and they're looking and they're observing. And David Pardue, a good friend of mine out of North Carolina, he's a longtime Bigfoot field researcher. David and Terry Wendell out of South Carolina, and Kristen's on our team as well. Kristen had her FLIR or a thermal, I can't remember. David notices that there's something that he's seeing in his thermal or his FLIR, and he's like, this cube started forming in the middle of the meadow, and there's like nothing in this meadow. It's just open field, and he's seeing this, like, it looks like a house, like he describes it as an apparition of a building. Now there's even a cross sitting out in front of it, like a Christian cross. and it looks like it had windows in it. It was just weird. And so he hands his device over to Terry. He's like, Terry, look at this. Tell me if you see something over there. He thought he was going crazy. And Terry looked, he's like, yeah, there's a cube over there. And so they radio over to the guys across the field. They're like, hey, go check this out. And so the guys, Tim and Bob and a couple of other guys, they walk over they're guided over to this thing because you can't see it with your naked eye. And so they send them over to this area in the field. And Bob he was the head of the North Georgia Cryptid Field Researchers. It's one of my teams I was on. I still am on. Okay. But him and Tim's retired, military special forces. Bob was retired Navy, search and rescue guy, longtime law enforcement. Both of them are trained in remote viewing with me. We trained in remote viewing, by the way, for 5, 6, 10 years, just about. And so we're all very psychically switched on. They know energy shifts. They know when something's wrong in the environment. And they were guided over to this cube. And as they walked over to it, Kristen pulls out her recording device on her thermal and starts recording. And they're guided over to this thing, and Bob and Tim walk up to it, and they disappear. Their heat signatures disappeared. And that's actually in this video. It's really crazy. They said that they felt the environment change. Both of them said that the vegetation on the ground changed, and it went from like brushy and like hard to walk through to smooth. The stars disappeared, and the temperature slightly changed, they said. And so they knew something was wrong within a matter of less than a minute or so. They backed out of it. They didn't know they were in anything. Remember, this is just an open field. Okay.
Wow.
And so they backed out of it. And then, pretty much that was that. Oh, and by the way, in the video, you can actually see this thing shrink down and then like fly off after they came out of it. Wow. And so, of course, that takes all of us down this wild and crazy rabbit hole. Cause here I am. I'm not convinced this isn't some kind of UFO or man-made device of some sort, some kind of military, paramilitary operation they got going on out there or something. I'm such a conspiracy theorist at this point. But it was just something that was really weird. Now, fast forward several years, both so both of them, their health started declining rapidly after this happened. And Tim he didn't know he had a heart condition. Something like happened with his heart, and he died suddenly. This is before the whole ouchie, if y'all know what I'm talking about. So it was before all that happened. It was like right around the time that happened, but before that. And then Bob got a very aggressive form of cancer. And they both ended up passing away, both of them. Now, can we definitively say it had anything to do with this? No. But we all have our suspicions, and Bob definitely had his suspicions before he died.
Well, the fact that it happened to both of them is...
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of famous stories like that, where I know one that happened in Canada where the gentleman, claimed to have had some sort of experience with something he couldn't explain, and he ended up dying of cancer as well. And there was radiation found, where he said it was at and everything. That's crazy.
When this happened, how long after this happened did they pass away, and then the next one pass away?
Within a couple of years. So it wasn't immediate, okay, by any means. So I think Tim passed away 2020, I think, something like that. And so it had to have been, how old's my son? 2017, 2018. So it was in a couple of years. It was a couple of years, both.
So they both died of cancer from, allegedly, maybe from this particular incident. Was it the same type of cancer?
No, well, Tim got a heart condition. And he was he was only in his 50s. He was a healthy guy, very healthy. He was healthy. It just seemed so random to everybody. You know what I mean? And it's very sudden. And then Bob had cancer a while back, but it was gone. He was healed from that. And then all of a sudden it came out like turbo, and it was
had you guys discussed this happening with anybody, or is this amongst yourself? Yes. The experience itself?
Yes, we actually had a meeting with our team. The team has gotten together. First of all, right after that happened, the team got together. Some of the guys were like, they wanted to come together to find out who had the best health insurance and stuff. because they were trying to come up with a plan as to what to do the next time we encounter a portal out there. And
Who's going next?
It did involve tying a rope around somebody's waist and the other people pulling. Okay. So that really did happen. And
so somebody had to draw the short straw. Was that?
Yes. They're like, who has the best, who has life insurance? Who has the best health insurance? Okay. And so I never volunteered for that, by the way. I knew better. But yeah, that happened. And, and
we're not all that intelligent, Jessica. You got to figure that out by now.
Listen,
we will do things in the name of discoveries and science. So
listen, we're all a little crazy. If anybody's getting out there chasing these, mythological creatures that are actually real, then we're all a little weird, a little crazy. And I'm proud of it.
I am not chasing the skin or the pale crawler across the river. I'm not doing that.
Oh yeah. Well, we had those in a cave that I was at a couple years ago.
Even worse.
Oh, it's horrible. I did not go back there when those guys went back there. I guarded the front of the cave. Okay. But yeah, it's so the team, we had to have a serious conversation as to whether we wanted to continue researching after this happened and after they both passed away. And because it is, we saw how dangerous this is. And like I said, it's not, we didn't definitively decide that like, hey, this is why they got sick, but we think it may have something to do with that. And there are other people on our team that have gotten sick as well. Not to get into anybody's, information, but just to be vague about that, like other people on the same team have gotten sick. Okay. Oh, wow. And so, yeah, it's one of those things. I mean, even if people have like ghost activity in their house, that's probably putting off a little radiation as well. I don't know how to get around it to stay safe from all that. But like I said, I don't think that it's been studied enough, honestly. And our team's out there studying it. Even to this day, we're still out there studying it.
I would say it's probably being studied, but probably by somebody a lot higher than the pay grade we're ever going to have. You know what I mean?
Skinwalker Ranch people, probably. And that's what we call this place. The meadow is it's been dubbed the Skinwalker Ranch of the South.
Georgia version of Skinwalker.
An S-Walker. I say S-Walker because I say that word so much. I'm like, people are like, they're going to come get you. Well, my first encounter with one was actually near Cherokee, North Carolina. And I was actually camping out on top of a sacred mountain. There was an actual vortex right there. And I was with my friend, Chief David Webb, actually. He was a medicine man, Cherokee, actually. And his friend Will. And those guys they were wild, man. They took us up on this camping trip. It was right after I started Bigfooting. And I had met Chief David at the same place where I met my friends that I go Bigfooting with now, that same meetup, thing. And so I met him and him and his friend David and his friend Dick, actually, they live up there near Cashers, North Carolina. And they took us up to camp, and I was there for 4 nights maybe. And man, I tell you what, that was uncomfortable. Actually, I thought that Will, who's kind of old, very much older guy, he was also a medicine man. He's like a shaman. He stood up and started yelling behind me one night. We were out there, and I was like, "What is he yelling at?" I thought he was just trying to scare me, but this man does not play. He did not play. This was not funny. But he started speaking this old dialect of Cherokee, nobody even speaks it anymore. Okay, but he knows it, and he started yelling forcefully right behind, at me, but behind me. And he told me later, he was like, well, actually that was a skinwalker that was coming up here. He keeps following me around. And well, it turns out he told me why, he may have had something to do with it. I'm just going to leave it at that. But he was like, yeah, he follows us around. He's like, y'all, please just be safe out here. Just watch your back. He's not going to hurt you and stuff. He said he wasn't going to hurt us. And I was like, okay, whatever. And I couldn't sleep at all that night, by the way.
You got some sort of understanding with it or something?
I guess so. He put the, what do you call it, BTA on it. Okay. And told it not to, just to leave us alone that night, I guess. It was just weird. For a long time, I've always juggled that in my mind. Was he just playing with me or was he being serious? I think he was being serious. But that was the first time I ever had a maybe close encounter with one of those. And then I got called up for an investigation up in Whitleyville, Tennessee. About it's been like 3 years now. I think it's 2 or 3 years now. And that's after I started my YouTube channel, and I was kind of public with some of the stuff I was talking about, speaking at conferences and festivals and stuff. And a woman hit me up who lived up in Whitleyville with her husband. They just bought a house or started renting a house up there in North Tennessee. And she said that she was having they'd put cameras up around this house. She's like, we bought this house, we started renting it or whatever, sight unseen, and we didn't realize there was a cave 30 feet from our back door. There's a cave entrance. There's a bunch of cave entrances actually right there. And she was like, we have these chickens. These are my pet chickens, and I put them in a coop. She put them right beside the entrance of that cave, y'all. And I was like, wow, I don't know why she did that. But she did. And so she was like, look, we've got these cameras around the house, and my chickens are going missing. And anytime my chickens go missing, the cameras get moved right before it happens. So something's like moving the cameras around her house to not face the chicken coop. Well, they found some footprints, like human-sized footprints, like bare feet, Bigfoot footprints, basically. And there were, stories about the neighbors like moving out overnight because they saw like dog men in their backyard, and they were seeing these things coming up from the dry creek bed in front of her house, like Bigfoot or dog men. And so she had us come out there to do an investigation. And we had about, I think there were 6 or 8 of us, I can't remember, went up there. I went with some guys that I just kind of met from Tennessee who have a little team they're putting together. And so I went up there with them. And it turns out, after doing some historical research on the history of that place, it was owned by Choctaw, indigenous, like Native Americans back in the day, and it was on their land. And the story was behind it. And I see Bruce in your chat tonight, Bruce Brown. Bruce actually told me, I just met Bruce this year, and I love Bruce to death, but he's from there. He was law enforcement up there. And he said that he remembered seeing my truck up there and all of us camping out in their yard. He was wondering what the hell we were doing over there. But we went over to this house. It was like a log cabin with this creek behind it. And so I actually consulted with William Nighthawk, who's in the chat. Thank you for being here, William. I see William in here. And so I asked William like what to do. I was like, I kind of knew that I was told that it was they call it the S Walker Cave behind her house. And I asked William, and all I can tell you, I can't say exactly what he told me to do because I'd never gone on an investigation with this caliber of something that I knew I was getting myself into. And it's basically like kind of going after vampires, basically. And very spiritual, by the way. Not all the stuff we're dealing with out there is just flesh and bone. There's other stuff out there, and there's always a spiritual element to it. But yeah, we prepared for this, and I don't think you're ever fully prepared for a skinwalker investigation.
Oh, I wouldn't think so.
But no, so we got up there, and it turned out there was a medicine woman or a shaman. It turned out to be a woman who had banished a number of S walkers into that cave. There was like an outbreak of them all over that land, and they put them. They like spiritually bound them into this cave. I don't know if they put a rock over the entrance or what. I don't know what they did. But a number of years ago, that shaman was living in that cave, and she banished all them into that cave and sealed them in there. Well, this family. Let's fast forward. Few years. It turns out, I didn't know this at the time. I just found out this year that actually there was an Indian burial mound right there, and the family who lived in that log cabin before the lady and her husband moved into it, they had leveled this Indian burial mound right there, and
that's not good.
No, not at all. Well,
not good at all.
The people
I got enough trouble with haunted puzzles at my house that I have to get rid of. I don't need a destroyed burial mound.
No, well, the family was having issues with like poltergeist and ghost kind of stuff going on at their house too, and they just figured it was all because of maybe the Bigfoot that was out there, or maybe even feral people living in the cave. They didn't know what it was. And
I don't want to deal with feral people either.
Yeah, feral people. Yes, that's actually quite scary.
Have you ever encountered feral people areas? Have you ever been to any?
I've researched everything. I have not come across any feral people that I know of, but I don't know. I don't know. I hope not. I don't go searching them out. That's for sure. I definitely don't. I've seen
I've had
the
more
hills have
trouble with
eyes.
crackheads in the woods than I have with anything else. So
God,
Hey,
there's all
Jessica,
sorts of crackheads.
history-wise on that property, how far back have you gone?
It went back to, well, okay, let's I've got more. There's way more that goes on there. Okay, so I don't know the exact years, but I know Bruce is a historian. He's from there. He's in your chat right now, so he might could say it, tell us in the chat. He came on my show recently, and he talked about he went out there to investigate this area just to go look, because they actually leveled the house that I was at, and let me tell you why. I don't know exactly why, but the family that was living there was not only having this like poltergeist, like ghost activity going on there, the Bigfoots, possible dogmen, all that kind of stuff. The people in the house, Bruce was telling me the people across the house were being levitated out of their beds, and one of the people got thrown out of the top story window one night.
Whoa.
Out of this place. I mean, it's bad. The activity was
That's
horrible.
interesting.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
yeah, I'm burning that sucker down.
Well, it did. It ended up burning down. That's what happened. The house burned down. Like within the next day or the next week, the house burned to the ground.
Do you think they burned it down or something else burned it down?
Something else burned it down. Whatever's out there. Well, okay, so we're trying to figure out, like, we're thinking like it's the S walkers in the cave that are causing all this activity. It's dogman. It's I don't know. We were there trying to figure this stuff out. Well, it turns out after we did our investigation, this was years ago that happened, that I went there. Bruce comes on my show and we're talking about it. And he's like, well, actually, the man who lived there kind of went crazy. We were finding all these children's toys in the cave, because we did a pretty thorough investigation of that cave. Went back as far as we could till the guys went back there till the ropes ran out on them. And that's when one of the guys whistled, and like a pale crawler peeked its head up from behind the shadows in the back of the cave. So that's the pale crawler thing right there.
You said you found lots of kids' toys back there?
Toys. Yeah, we were finding little toys in the front of the cave. I mean, we were finding all sorts of stuff back there. You could tell where people had been living it there at some point.
Wow.
You know, the ground, Bruce said the mound dated back over 6,000 years. The cave's been there longer, he says.
Wow.
Okay. So the ground was like mud on the inside. And I'm telling you that because when we got there, I'm up there. I'm a tracker. I love going out and tracking, animals, human tracking, looking for Bigfoot, whatever. We're getting there. We're finding a couple. We found one footprint over by the chicken coop, and the chickens were going missing. Something was sticking a stick inside the coop and shooing the chickens to the other end so they could open the door and then take a chicken and shut the door back. And then the only thing that was being left of the chickens were just the feathers. No body parts, no blood, no nothing, just chicken feathers. Well, the feathers were leading up into that cave. All right, so I walk up to this cave fully expecting to see footprints up there in the cave, Bigfoot or something. And we get up there, there's no footprints in there at all. Whatever was taking these chickens was scaling the wall. Okay.
Did you find the chicken anywhere?
Never found the chickens. No, we never found our chickens.
Just feathers.
Feathers. Yeah, just feathers. And they disappeared right at the mouth of the cave. So like there were feathers at the beginning of the cave, almost like they had walked through the hole of the cave door, and it was like a portal or something. It was weird. But there were no footprints. And when you walked in there, like I didn't like being in there with all those people, because if something were to bum rush us from the other end, we were dead meat, because we couldn't. Our feet were sinking in the mud. You couldn't run. It was like quicksand, kind of. The mud was real thick.
It's never fun being stuck in mud when something's
coming
after you.
No, I was like, y'all go back there. I'm gonna stand at the front of the cave. I'll hold it down up here. Y'all go do your thing. But yeah, it was really creepy. But there were little boys. There were like little toy cars and stuff in this cave.
How old do you think the toys were? How
they were? I would say within the past 10 years, 5 years, something like that. I mean, they looked like they were kind of recent. And we didn't know the full history of the recent history of that place.
Do you think maybe the pale crawlers could have been playing with them?
Well, we found out what it was. Found out what it was. Okay, so there was this is what Bruce told me. He said there was actually a husband and wife and then two boys or two kids that were living at this house before the couple that called us up there was living there. Within 5 years before us 5 years before this couple moved in, this family was living there, and the father got like possessed or something, and the kids would go hide in the cave to get away from their dad, and the dad was fighting with the mom. The mom was trying to protect the kids. The father ended up unaliving the wife on the porch.
Oh boy.
She died on the porch. We had no idea. We had no idea until Bruce told me. I had no idea. And I had pictures of me sitting on that porch and stuff. And since we've been up there, the house has been leveled. It caught on fire too. All the houses right there were that Indian burial mound. The father, by the way, was part of tearing that Indian burial mound down.
Wow.
All right.
I think the spirits were getting back at him for that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thou shalt
Yeah.
not toucheth thy mound.
Man. Well, if I had known all that, I don't know if I would have even gone up there. I'm just saying. I don't know. It was a cool trip, man. It was a cool trip. But yeah. The team ended up exploring multiple caves out there, at least 2 of them while we were out there.
Now,
And,
you was talking about the feathers just went over to the cave entrance.
mhm.
Did the toys go into the cave too?
Yeah, they were in it. You could tell the kids were probably living it. I mean, just staying out there. They may have been sleeping out there and everything. I mean, I don't know. It's it's not that uncommon. I mean, I can tell you from experience. I know my great aunt and my family's from North Georgia, and we're country, okay. And so I didn't know this until I was an adult. But my great aunt, my aunt Charlotte, okay, she when she left she separated from her husband at some point. She went with her kids and lived in a cave. I didn't know that until recently, but it's not scary for some people, especially if you ain't got nowhere else to go.
Very true.
And plus, it was 120 degrees outside, and it was like 50 degrees down there in that cave. It was like a refrigerator.
Oh wow!
It was fantastic, but it was also terrifying. So, but the kids, it probably saved their lives if they were down there living it. And there were a lot of different caverns where the kids could hide as well down there. But yeah, that happened.
It sounds like a horror movie. Dad
Yeah,
kills
it is.
mom and kids hide in a cave.
Yeah. It would make a good movie.
It would. Creatures down there with them.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
It would.
It's bad when you're safer living in a cave.
Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt, Jeff.
Man.
How far back in did the cave go, or did you go very far?
Oh, it went way back, and so some of the guys are actually cavers that I was with. They love that stuff. I don't. Okay, I learned that weekend I don't give a crap about caves. Okay, I will go in one. I'll hang out and I'll go explore, but I'm not going down on a rope and climbing and squeezing.
Yeah, me either.
I don't do that. I'm claustrophobic, y'all. So
I found an abandoned cave. I found a little cave with an abandoned campsite in it. And we've camped in the woods of that area, that mountain, a couple of times, and that thing's still there.
Oh yeah, we actually found there were places where people had built fires back in that cave and stuff. I mean, you can't really tell how old it is because it's like a time capsule kind of back there, I guess, with like the temperature and everything. It's you couldn't tell like what the time period was when people had been back there. I know that sounds weird, but I don't know. At some point there was a drawing of like a casket or something. I can't remember what the guys told me. It was like a casket or something, and they got a little weirded out by that, almost like maybe there was somebody buried out there in the back of the cave. But they had a lot of rope until the ropes ran out as to how far back they went. One of the guys, they got a video of this, and somebody pulled out their phone, and I believe one of the guys whistled. You're never supposed to whistle, y'all.
Oh God!
Yeah,
and he whistled, and they had their flashlights, and they were checking out the back of the cave. And something peeked its head out from the shadows in front of them, and they were like, "Yeah, we're out here." You can't just go out and like shoot stuff in a cave. That's yeah, it's not safe. Yeah, but
I always think so. I stopped going into caves or even thinking about caves, and now you're making it worse. I watched that movie, The Descent.
Descent. Yeah, don't ever. Yeah,
and now
it's like watching Jaws before you go to the beach.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it sounded like, those creatures that were in that movie sounded like they could have been a type of pale crawler,
Plus, Chad, you mentioned the clown dolls.
The clown dolls. Well, that's how I started off. That's how all this started.
That's
clown dolls in my
yeah.
bedroom as a kid.
Bud
Thanks,
said you
Mom.
just got to yodel instead.
Man,
Yodelity-ho-ho.
yeah, man. I tell you what, it's you know, I mean, I've been called out on several really cool investigations, and you guys, I might go ahead and tell y'all about the one in Georgia that I did about was that about 3 years ago, 4 years ago, maybe. It was the same time that the Georgia Guidestones got demolished. Do y'all remember the Georgia Guidestones?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We did a podcast on those.
Okay,
Yeah,
whenever
pretty
that was, I think it had to have been like 5 years ago, 4 years ago, maybe. Right, it was almost like the month that happened. I got called out to Elberton to a state park out there by a park ranger, and which is very, I mean, it's pretty uncommon. I don't get contacted by park rangers often, but he and I shared a mutual friend, and he called and was upset, and she was like, "Oh, I have a friend. My friend Jessica is a Bigfoot researcher. Let me get you in touch with her." And I just so happened to live in Georgia. And so I got called out to a park, and I'm telling you guys a story because I love connecting dots here. And I know you guys interview people and y'all go out and do your cryptid stuff. And we're starting to connect some dots here with cover-ups. You know, we hadn't even gotten into the whole government conspiracies of all this stuff yet. And you know, like I said, I don't even know if we call it the portal out at the meadow. This cube, we have encountered the people on my teams, especially, and you know, that we've encountered multiple portals. Okay, North Georgia. I'm not going to tell you exactly where all they're at, but we've encountered more than one. And so, and I am not convinced at this point. First of all, I'm like, I think I live in a simulation. Okay, that's what I'm starting to think at this point. Are these cryptids even real? What's going on here? But okay. So it's fun when you go and you meet people in person, right? You go to these campouts and stuff. And I went to, let's see, I guess it was in Alabama, out at this hunt camp. That's where I was leaving, and I saw my first dogman, okay, last year. And but I was talking with some people about my experience, what happened at the state park, and me and some of my friends were talking, and we started connecting dots. Like, well, you know, I was told that too, and we're seeing that like there's things going on in our state parks and our national parks that we're being told are one thing, but they're actually something else. And so I'm going to get to that. Let's get to this story. Okay. So I was contacted by this park ranger, anonymous, not going to say who he was. He was frantic. He was like, "Hey, you know, can I talk to you? We've had 9 Bigfoot sightings at our park this month in the past 30 days. And I was like, "Well, yeah, sure." You know, I thought it was kind of I didn't know for sure if it was not a joke. So I asked him to FaceTime me so I could see his face. I was like, "You're going to talk to me face to face, okay? And tell me what's going on there." And this poor fellow was like almost devastated. He was like, "Look, I don't know what to do. We've had 9 sightings. I have them all documented. I know exactly where they're at. And I'm upset." He's like, "Because I'm the one that's having to write up these reports and send them to the governor's office. And everybody here's making fun of me for it." And well, here's the thing. I worked in state government for almost 20 years. Okay, I ran an agency actually for the state of Georgia. Not anything to do with any of this. It was a women's agency, okay? But nonetheless, I know how things work. I worked with the governor's office. I worked at the Capitol in Georgia, and that's kind of a big deal. Okay, like I know if like they're sending reports of Bigfoot encounters to the governor's office. That's weird. Okay, I didn't know they were doing that, like incident reports. And so I listened to the guy, and I really appreciated it. I was like, "Look, I'll be glad to come out and see what you got going on there." But you know, y'all, I didn't see any urgency in it because I had a lot of other stuff going on at the time. And I was like, "Look, I'll be there when I get there. I'll get some of my team will come scout the place as soon as we can." Well, a week went by. He kept in touch with me. He was like, "Look, we've had more sightings." He was like, "Please come out." And he thought that I was being ridiculous because I wouldn't come out to his park yet. And one day he just calls me out of the blue, like in a panic. He goes, "Please get here now. We just had a Bigfoot related death at the park last night." And I was like, "Well, now you got my attention." Okay. And so I called, I had 3 of my guys. We loaded up, we packed up, we went to the park on that Friday. And we stayed for a weekend. We met with a park ranger, and he took us around all 9 plus locations where these Bigfoots had been sighted. And he was like, all right, we'll take you. He took us to the last one was the cabin where this man had died. And let me, before I get into that, I'm going to tell you one of the most interesting encounters that he went over with us was, he said there were two couples that were camping in the campground, and they were walking to their tents at night. They were going down this trail, and there were two in the front and two walking behind them down a trail. And they said that something like a 9 foot tall, 7 to 9 foot tall, like Bigfoot, jumped down from a tree right in front of the two people in the front. And they got so scared they just took off running backwards, and they passed the people that were behind them, their spouses or whatever. And the people, they didn't say a word. They just took off running. And then the other two saw a 7-inch tall squirrel. So it went from like a gigantic, 7 foot tall, 9 foot tall Bigfoot to like a 7 to 9 inch squirrel.
Oh.
And it just didn't make any sense. But you know how many times people have told me that exact same thing in Bigfoot encounters now? It's crazy, y'all.
So it's like crazy. It was a Bigfoot 1 second and a squirrel a second.
Yes, like a shapeshifter or something, or just the perception of the people who are seeing it. It's just different in the different people that are seeing this. And so they told us that. Yeah.
So with the 9 sightings, could you correlate like how they were how the Bigfoot was moving by where the sightings occurred? Like if they were moving on the outskirts or following ridges, or
we could. Well, here's the thing about it. When we started thinking, we didn't find a lot of Bigfoot sign out there. We were looking everywhere. We didn't find a whole lot of sign. But what we did find were we were finding that we were kind of thinking that like maybe that 1 or 2 reports had been made, and then people caught wind of that, and then everything to everybody out there was a Bigfoot. You know what I mean? So like it was in the collective consciousness. So like somebody heard a twig break in the middle of the night. Oh my God, it's a Bigfoot. You know what I mean? So we had no doubt there were some Bigfoot sightings out there, but we weren't sure if like all of them were actually Bigfoot. But
squirrels.
There's some were squirrels. Yeah. Squirrel. Well, I thought it was kind of weird when he told me that, but since then I've had at least 2 to 3 other encounters of eyewitnesses that I didn't know about the report that I took, who told me the exact same thing, that they had actually encountered firsthand. Wow. Okay. Where they saw it was like a squirrel that turned into Bigfoot or vice versa. Okay. So this park ranger takes us to this cabin, and he said, this is where this gentleman died. He had a heart attack. He said, we were walking around this cabin. He said, the man was there for a birthday party. He was there with his wife. I mean, they got the whole story. He said, this man was there with his wife, and his family was there in other cabins, but they had their one cabin to themselves. And the man had a Bigfoot sighting earlier in the day. He was telling his family about it. He was like, I swear I saw a Bigfoot out here. And so he went to bed. The wife was in the bathroom, from what I was told, brushing her teeth or something. And the man started hyperventilating and screaming. And he was saying he was indicating there was a Bigfoot looking in his window, and he had a heart attack and he ended up dying.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Now that's what I was told. That's what we were told. We were shown everything. We went to the cabin and all that. Okay. And, but like I said, we just took the reports, and then we never found like any Bigfoot. We didn't find a lot of Bigfoot sign out there, but not to say there wasn't any. We just didn't find any while we were there. Now,
like you said earlier, no Bigfoot poop?
No poop. No bodies, no poop. Okay. Doesn't mean it wasn't out there, but no bodies, no poop. And I think it's funny that people ask me the same thing, like, where's the Bigfoot poop? Where's the body? I'm like, I have to tell them the same thing that those guys told me. You're not always going to find stuff like that out there. But okay, so let's fast forward again. So this was like around the same time that we went to the Georgia Guidestones while we were out there. I have a picture of me and the 3 guys in front of the Georgia Guidestones. Within the month, those things had been demolished. And so one of our teammates is a nurse at a hospital out there, ER nurse or whatever. And so she's like, so she knows the coroner real well. And so she asked the coroner, she knew that we had been out there on that investigation. And she was like, hey, whatever happened with that death out at the park? And she gave him the date, and the coroner's like, oh no. He's like, oh, that's not what happened. And it actually wasn't an older gentleman. It was actually a young lady and her two male friends. They were young, and she had a drug overdose. And so the whole story completely changed. It wasn't a man, it was a young girl, and it was her two friends that were with her, and she died of an OD.
Whoa.
And it was so weird. And so, of course, with my team, we're just like, well, it's a coroner. Like, why would we question the coroner? The park ranger must have gotten the information wrong. And, maybe this was all just, we went out there for nothing, but I didn't think so, because, the guy was very credible. He was very nice. We got to know him really well. There's no reason for that guy to lie to us about this. But he got us to come out there, and it just didn't make any sense. Well, you just kind of have to let that kind of stuff go, because you're just like, well, I don't know. Where the coroner said it wasn't that. So it is.
But coroners get paychecks from people too, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Oh, it gets juicy now. So like this is why I feel it's important to talk about this, especially amongst like other cryptid field researchers and stuff, people that are out at our national parks and our state parks. We need to know about this stuff. So I'm out at in Alabama. I want to say last year. I think it was last year, but I met up with the Greens, like Mark and Patrick Noble's there, Wendell and Pops. Gary was out there. Chad, were you there? You and Erica?
Yeah, we were here. We were there.
Oh, we were there too. Okay, that's where I met you. Okay,
yes.
And so we were out there, and but I was I was out there talking to Mark and some other guys that were out there, and we were discussing like the people that were being found under unusual circumstances in these parks, like at Talladega out in Alabama where we were, and how they're actually these deaths that are suspicious. Okay. Sorry. So they're like kind of suspicious, like people that know these people who have died have suspected maybe there was some kind of Bigfoot or Dogman involvement, potentially some kind of cryptid involvement, some kind of something other. They are being ruled ODs, okay, like D-Rug ODs, okay, and there's been and they were like, yeah, there's been a lot of those out here lately. I'm like, well, and not to say that that's not what's going on out there. It could be that, but we also need to kind of look deeper into this and find out if there's some kind of like pattern of it being mislabeled to throw the public off as to like what's really going on out there, because it seems like there could be, and what we were talking about was like, the guys were like, well, I can tell you almost for a fact, I don't know if it's a fact. They're like, that was not an OD on some of these deaths, but that's what they're being ruled. Okay, so I don't know. That's why I tell everybody.
They're going to tell us the truth anyway.
Well, that's a great way to get people just to shut down.
Yep.
Oh, it's an OD. Oh, well, who cares then? I mean, that's usually the way it works.
Exactly. Well, that's why I'm very, very clear about like, hey, don't go in the woods by yourself. If you're going out in the woods, please tell somebody where you're going. Okay, and like don't ever go out by yourself. I mean, you might end up, where we were at, Chad, at that hunt camp, there's a man, they say, Mark was telling me back in the 1980s, there was a gentleman that was found there with a hunter who had died.
Yeah,
and his arm was ripped off.
Mentioned that.
Yep, I've heard that one too. Yep.
Yeah. They said that his leg was like twisted up behind his back and his arm was ripped off. And then, of course, when I left there that night, I'm driving down the road. I'm not going to say exactly where I was, but I was real close to where y'all still were camping out. And I was by myself and heading back to Georgia. And I passed. I mean, the only thing that it could have been was a dogman. I think that there were actually two of them. But I was sorry, y'all, my camera keeps sliding down. I'm like, I can't get myself straight. But I was leaving there and I saw some eye shine ahead of my truck, and it was like in my lights. There was something like squatted down in the tall grass on the side of the road. And I thought, oh, that's cool. It's like a big dog up there. And as I got closer to it, I saw it was like pitch black. It was the blackest black fur I've ever seen on an animal, like a black panther. And it was huge. It was the size of a bear. And it had like rounded ears with like tufts of like hair coming out of them, like around the edges. But it had a face of a panther or a pit bull, like a cane corso, if y'all know what those look like, kind of, or like a pit bull or something, like a cane corso or a pit bull. And I kept thinking it looked like an African dog, but it was moving like a panther, but it was the size of a bear. And it was just squatted down. It had these like really white teeth, and it was like gnashing its teeth at me. Dang it, y'all. My camera. I'm so sorry. I'm gonna fix my camera here in a minute. But then I looked over and there was another one on the other side of the road, and it had its back turned to me and it wouldn't turn around. And my headlights were shining on it, and it must have been eating some roadkill or something. I don't know what it was doing.
Yeah, I remember you.
Wow.
I think you sent a text to Mark Green because Mark Green told us about it. And we were like, okay, interesting.
Oh yeah, I sent it to him and Joe Parker. Dang it, y'all! I'm so sorry.
I don't know if you can see the questions that we're putting up on the screen or not, but Bigfoot Bo is asking, what do you suspect the deaths were from?
Well, the one in Elberton, I'm going to say that was probably Bigfoot. I mean, I was told that's what we were investigating. It was a Bigfoot related death. And so your guess is as good as mine.
But they're claiming all of them to be drug related.
Yes. Some of them. Yeah. Some of them, the ones that we were kind of discussing. Yes.
Mary Fabian also asked if you were in the GATE program in high school.
I don't remember. I don't know. You know what? People ask me that sometimes. I did take the testing and stuff, but I don't remember being in it. I don't know. That's part of the MK Ultra programming, I guess, but not that I have it. Joe Parker was there too. I remember JoJo's in your chat.
Yeah.
Dang it. My camera keeps falling, y'all. I'm going to have to do something about this. I had to tape it. No, trust me, it's got duct tape on it already. Okay. It's nothing but duct tape. That's why it's falling.
Yeah, you can watch it right now. I'm watching it get
It's just
lower.
moving.
Yeah,
Goodness, I wore pants tonight, y'all. I'm just saying. Okay. I'm kidding. Oh man. Yeah, I might get my son to come over and hold this for me. But let's see. Just gotta find something to prop it up.
You gotta shove a pencil or something in there.
Here, I'm just gonna put this right here. Dang it, y'all. It's always something around here. Oh God. All right. Here we go. I'm gonna put it up against my computer. I'm gonna try not to have to do this.
I see in the palm of your hand the future tells that you.
Yeah. All right, now it won't move. It's gonna be an extreme close up though. Okay. Dang it. Golly, y'all. So unprofessional.
Well, you're at the right show.
So professional.
Yes.
You're on the right show.
Okay, here we go. All right. It'll still keep moving down probably. I'll just move with it. All right. But I gotta fix that before my show. I got a show tomorrow. I gotta fix that. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know what it is. I mean, I hate to think that we're being lied to about stuff and things are being covered up so much, but my goodness, I mean, I've taken 3 trips recently to Kentucky, to the LBL up there, and that's another amazing place to research. But there's also a lot of cover-ups associated with that place, and like cryptid attacks and things suspected. Let's just say this is all for entertainment purposes only. But you know, Chad, I got to see you and Eric at the LBL too.
Yes, ma'am.
I ran into y'all a couple times the past couple of years.
Yes,
but yeah, you know, I see Joe and Patrick, Pops. There's a whole bunch of people in y'all's chat, and Robbie. Robbie was there. But you know, actually, there's a lot of cover-ups. I'm just gonna say, there's nothing but cover-ups.
Hillary's been busy tonight.
Oh my God, that's exactly what they look like. Is that Raggedy Ann and Andy? Oh gosh, that's me. Is that me?
Yes.
That is hilarious.
Oh, look, there's Vienna sausages. Look at that.
Vienna's? How do y'all? Oh my gosh, y'all. You know that's what I ask everybody that comes on my show at the very end. If you're from the South, I ask everybody, how do you pronounce Vienna sausage?
Vienna sausage.
I think we should go around.
Vienna.
Y'all tell me. See, y'all aren't from the South. None of you.
No, I'm a northerner.
Vienna
So.
sausage.
It's Viennas, y'all. It's Viennas.
Vienna.
Where are the Viennas in there? I gotta see.
They're
They're
right
on the
over there
nightstand. On the
they're right
nightstand.
there.
Oh, on the nightstand. Of course. Look, I've got Viennas right here on my shelf. I keep Viennas there. Everybody's always made fun of me for calling them Viennas. Everybody calls them something different down here in the South.
I'm beginning to think Hillary's a Fed. She knows everything about these people. Us when she
Hillary-
makes these.
Yeah.
Well,
Hillary
see
watches
the
my
little
shows.
yellow. There's a
She
little yellow
knows.
Bigfoot something behind your elbow there. So I'd say she's studying
Oh, yeah.
the screen pretty good.
Yes, I've got all sorts of weird stuff behind me for sure. Chicken fingers and tater logs. Hillary knows. Hillary's awesome. She's
I
the one.
usually have,
Hillary's the one that
I
knows
got
about the
some of
DG
those.
portals.
what are those things called? Sardines and mustard.
Oh yeah, sardines in mustard. You got to get them with
Mhm.
mustard in the sauce.
That's one of
Oh
my
yeah,
favorites.
yeah.
No
I
way.
like hyenas. I don't know potted. I don't eat potted meat too often, but I grew up on that stuff, y'all. I'm country. I'm pretty country.
Spam. I'm done with spam. I can't eat spam anymore.
Gosh,
Oh, I
I
lived
mean,
on spam growing up.
I need to do like a compilation of everybody that says Vienna on my show and how they say it different. It is I mean, it's the most hilarious thing I've ever heard. Everybody has a different way. People call them Veenie Weenies or Vienies or Vieners. Vienna is what I call them. Maybe it's just a Southern thing. Nobody else probably thinks it's funny. I think it's hilarious.
Little small hillbilly hot dogs.
Little hillbilly hot dogs.
Yeah.
You know, somebody gave me a trivia question one day. They're like, how many Vienna sausages are in a can? I was like, oh crap, I don't even know. 5?
10.
6.
I think this was like a Trivial Pursuit question or something.
There's 7.
I've never
7.
had Vienna sausages.
Viennas. You got to try. I mean, make sure you have some crackers and some mustard and some hot sauce because they're a little gross, but they're also a little good. They'd be good in a survival situation.
Right.
Didn't you? Wasn't it you and Robbie had those dog men following you out at? Where was that?
Mm-hmm. That was up in North Georgia. As a matter of fact, I took him up to North Georgia. Actually, that was that field where I had the missing time and stuff up there. Robbie's cool, man. I love Robbie to death, man. He's we don't live too far from each other. One of my research areas, I've been speaking at the Georgia Bigfoot Conference every year, and recently, and a couple of years I was up there speaking. Robbie came up and met me, and the night before the conference, I took him up to one of my research places, and the first we've got. I'm not going to say we got chased out of there by any means, but we left willingly. And the first time that I went up there, we had a weird experience. We got surrounded by something both times. The first year it was Bigfoot related, and it was kind of crazy because we were up at that open field and the bugs were really loud. It was very unusual to have crickets and bugs chirping out there when we were out there, and it was a clear night. It was really, really nice. The weather was not too bad. And the bugs were chirping really loud. So me and Robbie were like yelling over the bugs, right? Like we were being so loud. And like we were just catching up. We hadn't seen each other in a while. We were just talking about whatever, just laughing. But we were up there to try to get a Bigfoot experience in, but we were still talking really loud. And all of a sudden we're yelling and the bugs go mute. They go completely silent. And me and Robbie are still yelling at each other, and we were like, it was jarring, and we stopped and we looked at each other and we're like, oh shit,
Yeah.
something's out here, and after that, it was rough. Like we were surrounded all around us. Like we had gone up to the top of this hill. There was something down on the other side of my truck, behind my truck. Like we were surrounded by some kind of. We think it was Bigfoot, but you could hear them like crawling around in the wood line around us and stuff. And so we ended up just trucking it back down to my truck, right? We're like, let's just get out of here. And as we got back up, we got down the truck, we looked up and there were like 2 gigantic hulking figures right where he and I had been standing up at the top of that hill. So that was cool. That was a cool experience. I was glad Robbie got to experience that. And so we ended up going back this next year too. He came up and that was really scary. We had my son with us. And it's been a couple years. Okay. My son he's 12 now. He's probably about 10 back then. And Robbie's a police officer. I feel very safe with Robbie. Okay. And we are both fully equipped to take care of ourselves and my kid. And we weren't expecting anything crazy to happen out there, but kind of the same situation happened to where we ended up getting surrounded by something. And Robbie was like, looked at me, he's like, hey, y'all head back down the truck now, and it was just a bad feeling. Like it did not feel good. Whatever was out there, it was not the whole Bigfoot thing. Now, could it have been Bigfoots and it was different because my son was there? Yes. Okay. But it was definitely putting off some kind of weird, like almost like an infrasound type of a thing, kind of to get us out of there. And we got out of there. Robbie and I do both. We've both agreed. We think it probably was more like a Dogman or a S Walker kind of situation that night. It was bad, but
Wow.
yeah, it
I
was.
have a
It's fun looking back at it. But
I have a question for you. You've been doing this for years. You've been around this kind of stuff, from the paranormal to the UFOs to Bigfoot. What's the scariest thing, the most scared you've ever been?
okay, well, the most scary time I've ever had. There's. I'll just go with this one. Okay, so several years ago, a bunch of years ago, actually, we were up at North Georgia at one of these really crazy camps where we call it like the inoculation camp, like where we go to get we got inoculated, like initiated into like the high strangeness up there. The head of our team like knew where like the scariest, most like nastiest energy was, and he just had us go camp out there all the time, and we would go up there and. I mean, this one particular weekend we were up there and there's like nobody around. I mean, it takes like 45 minutes just to drive into the mountains off the main road to get to this place. And we have a lot of activity up there. The scary, and I don't get scared easily at all. Like I'm just like, whatever.
I can't imagine you would with all
No.
the stuff that you've seen.
Totally. Well, we're just kind of like sitting around the campfire for whatever reason. We had kind of all we just it was a bad feeling when you get a bad vibe. Sometimes like you just know something's going to pop off, and so we had put our tents close together. I'm usually putting my tent way off from everybody. I'm afraid I'm going to snore and somebody's going to hear it or something, you know. So I'm just like I like to go. I get more action with the cryptids when I'm out there by myself and I'm away from everybody, and I always regret it walking in my tent late at night by myself. I'm like, damn it. Why did I do this? But this time I was encouraged to put my tent by everybody else's, and I was glad I did. And we were on top of this mountain, and we put our tents kind of close together, and there were probably six or seven of us up there, and we're sitting around the fire and we're just hanging out. We don't have a lot of bad activity in our camp. We usually go out and we hike out. We find it'll come to our camp, but not like the really scary stuff usually. This was a different night though. And we're sitting around camp, and the head of our team like jumps up and he like takes off running behind where our tents are. And it was kind of alarming for us because that's not normal, but we were thinking maybe there's this kind of animal, maybe with some coyotes or something were coming up on us. And he jumps up, and all of a sudden we hear him yell, and it was in a different language. It was like "niet" or something. It was like something like no, and like another language, Russian or something. I don't know what it was. And so we hear this, and right as he says this, we just hear this horrible yell of something I've never heard in my life. And it was a mix between like a woman in pain and mad and screaming and an animal. And it was just the weirdest thing I've ever heard. And it was so loud, and you could hear it from where he was all the way running behind our tents, all the way down to where the road was. And it was like at the lung capacity on whatever this was just massive. And this thing was just like screaming and running right behind our tents. And so we're all like standing up. We don't know which way to go. We're just kind of sitting there like, what the hell is going on here? And so we start to go where he is, you know, we're like, what did you do? What's going on back there? And what he described to us was like he was sensing that there was something going on back there, so that's why he got up. Oops, sorry. Hold on, y'all.
The dog man, you brought it home.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry, y'all. My son has stepped out. He was taking care of the dog, and but anyways, okay. So what he described to us, what he saw. I didn't speak publicly about this for years. At all. I didn't speak about any of this for over 10 years, right? But even on my channel, like there's some things that I just haven't talked about. And it's first of all, there's method in my madness for a lot of this because first of all, not to say people aren't ready, because listen, I talk about some really wild stuff and people probably think I'm a weirdo, and that's fine.
We're getting the good stuff tonight.
You're getting the good stuff tonight though. Okay. And also there's reasons that I don't bring things up because I want to hear if somebody else has had this kind of stuff happen to them. And then I'll talk about it. You know what I mean? Because it's just, we're not, as a team, I respect what our privacy as a team of things that have happened.
That's the way
But
a lot of sightings are. A lot of people,
Mhm.
they don't want to open up until it's like, oh, well, this happened to me. If it
Yeah.
happened to you, it happened to me this way.
Yes. Well, okay, so this is what he described to us, and I was there. I did not see the portal open, but I was there when it did, and I did hear it. And whatever that creature was that ran out of it, it threw things at us all night, and it was terrifying. This was the scariest night that I'd had out in the field up to that point. I've had more weird stuff happen since then, but I don't get scared now like I used to. I just get mad, or I get irritated, or I get sick. Like I got hit with infrasound at that same hunt camp, Chad, that we were at, that met y'all at. I'll tell y'all about that next if you want to hear this one.
Yeah.
I swear I won't keep y'all here all night. I promise. But I do think that's an important story to tell y'all too. That could be the last one. Well, I don't know. You might want to hear about my other investigation I did on Thursday too. Anyways, but so the way you described it was it's pitch black outside, and he walks back there and he sees a red grid in the air, a red, like almost like neon, something you see like in a 1980s, like a Tron, the movie Tron or something like almost like to me it sounds like a computer simulation kind of a thing. Okay, that's what it sounds like to me. It was like a red neon, like a neon grid in this. It was like round.
That's what he saw behind the tents.
Yes. And what he was seeing when he saw it were two humanoids, black colored humanoids crawling out of it. And when he yelled and he goes like, "Nyet," it's almost like it pushed them into it. And the head of my team is cool, y'all. He's cool. He's got a lot of, he's taught me a lot. Okay. And, but when he yelled, one of the things got sucked back into it and the other one got pushed out of it. And so the one that got pushed out of it is one that was yelling. And it was just like, I mean, I want to say it could have been like a Bigfoot or something. He said it was not a Bigfoot. And I've heard Bigfoots yell. I've heard them scream. I've heard them whoop and holler and all this stuff. This was unlike anything I've ever heard. I've never heard anything like this since. And, but he said that whatever it was almost like it got mad that it got spit out and the other one got sucked back in. And that's when it started yelling. You know, I wanted to point this out too. Within an hour of this happening and us like being really weirded out by whatever this was that screamed, because you would think that we'd be out there with like our night vision and we'd be here, and you'd think that we'd be out there like chasing this thing down or at least stalking it out or just keeping watch over camp. Well, we all ended up going to bed. Everybody out there, we just thought it was a great idea to turn in for the night within an hour of that happening. And it was almost like hypnotic or something. And that happens to us sometimes out there. It just seems like totally fine for us to all turn in for the night and go lay down. But here's another thing that was really weird is that we did not go, none of us, not a single person went to sleep until after the sun came up.
That's what I was going to ask is if you guys had a good sleep or if you didn't fall asleep.
It was horrible. Our tents got pelted with acorns and rocks all night. And all of us, it was going around. It was just pelting all of us all night, whatever it was. And we never got out to look. None of us. It was almost like we were lulled to sleep or something, but we weren't asleep.
Did you communicate back and forth to each other while this was going on?
We were whispering. I remember at some point, like we were just getting pelted, and you could hear because the wind was blowing a little bit, and you could hear like the acorns falling from the tree down to the ground. The trajectory was going sideways, horizontal, like going like whizzing past our tents and stuff. And my tent was right beside the head of my team, his tent. And at some point he goes, "Remember, we do this for fun." And I was like, I think I said "screw you" or something to those terms.
Was this in Alabama by chance, or
this was in Georgia?
Somebody was asking.
Georgia.
It was in Georgia. Yeah, it was in Georgia. And so anyway, so that did happen. That was up to that point. That was the scariest thing that I'd ever experienced.
Bigfoot Bud wants to know what kind of sound did the portal make opening up?
It didn't make any sound. Hey,
No sound.
Bud, what's up, Bud? Yeah, no sound at all. No.
Okay. One more question from me, and then you can.
Okay.
What was the most blissful? What was the moment? Did you have a moment ever where you just were like you felt so like, you know, I've heard people say they've had experiences with, I've heard people say with Bigfoot, they've had a cleanse, like they just felt so good after they saw that. Do you have anything like that?
No, I've never never felt that. I feel good when I go out and like I haven't showered in 3 or 4 days and I go jump in a creek. That feels blissful right there.
Okay, I gotcha. All right.
I know that's a little TMI for all these fellas out here. I know, but I know. No, it gets nitty gritty out there for sure. But no, I've never really had like a bliss other than just like really enjoying my time out in the field and us having some, it's just beautiful. Anytime I get a chance to get out in nature, I go. And even at the meadow, like one of the last times that night that I heard my voice say time travel, the fireflies were absolutely everywhere that night. It was the most beautiful night of my life. I think it was just beautiful out there. Fireflies were everywhere, and we were just having the best time. We had the best time out there as a team. We did that whole CE. I don't like CE5 protocol, that thing where they call in the spaceships and stuff. It's weird. It's boring to me. But we were doing that out there and it was kind of funny, but it was actually really nice and beautiful. But no, I don't get the old, like Bigfoot to me is not like all flowers and sunshine and rainbows and stuff. That's not Bigfoot to me. That's not the Bigfoot that I know. I'm sure there's some nice ones out there, but like they'll eat you too. So
out of anything paranormal, I'm sorry.
They
Go
think
ahead.
they're real.
I thought you were pausing.
Oh no, I was. Go ahead, what were you saying?
Out of anything paranormal and Bigfoot and all this that you do, what is your most favorite thing that you like to do?
Right now, my favorite thing to do is to go investigate dogmen sightings. That's my thing right now, and that's what it is. It's just a natural progression, I guess. I love, and a lot of times we go out and investigate dogmen, but they end up being Bigfoot out there. Like we end up finding Bigfoot sign, and we don't find dogman sign.
Have you seen one?
A dogman?
Yes.
Yes, I saw. I believe I've seen 2 dogmen leaving Alabama at that hunt camp.
Yep.
Yeah, and and the thing about it is like I don't just assume everything's a dogman or a Bigfoot at all. Okay, but I did. After I rode by and I saw that thing and I slowed down and it was this huge panther hyena bear. That's what I called it. It was like a panther hyena bear, and it was squatted down the grass. It never got up. It gnashed its teeth at me, and I had another one across the road. Well, I had an hour and a half to drive home after that to think about what I had just seen, and it was so weird. I didn't get home till like 2:30 in the morning or something, and so I didn't want to like call or text. I didn't have phone service either. There's no phone service out there. By the time I got home, I went to bed, and then I figured I'd just text. I think I texted Joe. I think Joe's in chat. Joe and maybe Joe, but definitely Mark the next morning. And Mark knew exactly. I told him exactly where it was, and Mark was like, "I know who owns that property. I know exactly where that is. Where you're talking about, and they do have boogers on their property, and they've had dogmen out there too." And so it was only for me to be so weirded out by not understanding what I was looking at. It just made more sense that was a dogman. I mean, unless it was like some kind of bear man or, like almost like a hyena type of a dog man or something, like that's what I think I was looking at was like it didn't fit any of those charts.
Criteria.
That you see.
A lot of people have said they look hyena-ish. Some of them do.
This one looked like it had a pit bull's head or a panther's head. And it was it was like pitch black.
Pit bull man.
Well,
we had a story, or it was told not too long ago. Oh, DA, I think, of a cat man. He was talking about investigating cat man in Missouri.
Yeah. That's right. There were some state park rangers. I mean, Robbie told me about that, and Edie, you guys had Eric on your show recently too.
Yep. We've had Eric.
And Eric and I have talked about that on my channel as well. And there's all sorts of weird stuff out there, y'all. Definitely feline humanoids and dogmen. I mean, pretty much if you can imagine it, it's out there.
What about Batman?
Yeah, Bat Squatch.
Blair Bear.
Yeah, a lot of the sightings that are coming out, even with like up in Tennessee and Kentucky, people think they're seeing like a werewolf or a dogman, but they really look like a bat squatch to me. They got like a bat-like face, is the way that these things are described.
The smoosh nose, is that what you're talking about? Like the
yeah.
Okay.
If we start seeing cowmen, we got problems.
Cowmen.
Right, Jeff?
Oh, God. I am a cowman.
Cowman.
I got a question here from Robert. What is the furthest north you've done an investigation?
Montauk, New York, Camp Hero, Long Island. I did about 2-3 years ago. I did an investigation. We went up to Camp Hero, where it's home of the Montauk Project.
Yeah, I was gonna
The
say.
the whole Stranger Things is based off of. I actually went with actual victims of the Montauk program, MK Ultra survivors and things like that. I went. They asked me to be a part of this little team that went up there. I did some remote viewing for them and stuff, and accompanied some of the survivors of those programs. They're younger than me, my age, and older, of course. They were part of the Montauk Project. But at Camp Hero, it's an old Air Force base, and it's right there on the ocean. It's at the very northern tip of Long Island, actually, in Montauk, and it was. So part of the Camp Hero, part of the Montauk Project, on the movie or the show Stranger Things, they show the Demogorgons. Those little, I think it's called the Demogorgon. There's those little things that run around, have like the flower looking face, like kind of like what they're representing there is actually some of the things that were summoned there that was manifested by some of the survivors of the victims of these programs. I want to say like an egregore or something like that. But one of them was a Bigfoot. They named him Junior. And Junior is actually still there on the base, they say. And while I was there, we went and investigated. There's plenty of Bigfoots out there in Long Island. And we did an investigation out there. It was awesome. Actually, one of the mornings I slept in because I was tired. The guys actually got a video of a Bigfoot there at Camp Heroes. And one morning I slept in. I didn't get to be there for that. But yeah, the farthest north that I've gone, it would be the northern tip of Long Island.
Yeah, we're an hour and a half from Gettysburg.
Ooh, nice.
I've actually camped up there with Bud. Bud and I camped up there.
Oh yeah. I love Battlefield.
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, that place is amazing. The wife and I go there during the 2020 year when nothing else was going on. We were out there like every weekend, just out riding through the battlefield and stuff.
Oh man, we get a lot of reports of cryptid sightings around these battlefields and stuff. And I've had my own high strangeness. We have a lot of Civil War battlefields around the South, here where I live. Pickett's Mill is one of them, and I've been able to hear phantom cannons firing and all that kind of stuff. Yes. And I just covered Old Green Eyes on Saturday night on my show. One of the researcher from Chickamauga, Georgia, came on my show, Greg Smith. And he's figured out what Old Green Eyes is. I think there's an entity that was seen eating the dead corpses of the fallen soldiers, 34,000 of them, back during the Civil War. And so we covered that on my show Saturday. It's pretty cool stuff.
Okay, go ahead, Chad, with that. Then I got a picture I got to share for River real quick.
Okay. Regarding radiation, do you think it sticks to your clothes and your stuff while out there? Do you quarantine it when you all get back home?
Hey, Angel, I do not quarantine. I'm more worried about ticks than anything than radiation. Yeah. No, we don't quarantine. I don't think I say it's important to like pay attention to the radiation and stuff, but like, no, I don't like do anything special to prevent the radiation from affecting me when I get home or anything. I do wash my clothes and try to wash my hair. If I don't, I'm liable to have a tick crawl down my forehead while I do a show. If I've been in the field on a Saturday afternoon, I have definitely had a tick crawl out of my hair before.
And I got one more question. Yes. Could Jessica please give a short explanation of how remote viewing works?
Remote viewing. Okay. Let's see. It's finding a target. Remote viewing is finding a target through your senses. It's an unknown target. You don't know what it is through a process that depends on which mode you're using. I do a show every Thursday night where I do like coordinate remote viewing targets. It's basically they call remote viewers psychic spies. You're given a set of random coordinates that are assigned to a target. The military uses it, for example, in finding missing people. I get tasked with cold cases often, missing persons, trying to figure out like how somebody died or where their body's located. I've even done buried treasures and things like that, like helping people, people give me and they're blind targets. So all I'm given is a set of coordinates, but I actually extract data psychically through those coordinates to give you information on whatever that target is. I know it sounds kind of crazy, right? But that's, I have friends that are snipers in the military. They say there's actually a remote viewer assigned to all their units and stuff. And it's just a way to find targets and get extra data on stuff that you wouldn't normally get otherwise.
Okay, I actually do have one more question, Jerry. Sorry.
Okay.
Do you teach remote viewing?
I do not.
Okay.
It is actually quite intrusive, and I I was vetted before I was taught remote viewing pretty thoroughly by the person who taught me, and the methods I was taught. I never meant to be public about all that. You know what I mean? And I get asked all the time if I teach it. I could teach some psychic skills to people and stuff like that, but I would have to vet someone if I were to teach it. And I probably will teach it in the future one day, but I would have to vet people because it can be used in nefarious ways. If you don't, people could use it in bad ways. You got to there's some ethics involved here. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to gatekeep it by any means, y'all. Anybody can learn it. But the modes that I use, I do not teach them. I do not. Okay.
Jerry, do you want to bring your
real quick? We'll take care of this question while we're at it. We're talking remote viewing. Does a remote viewer appear as a bright orb to one being viewed? I've heard that.
Well, I can tell you what I saw. I've seen myself remote viewing myself, and I didn't know that. So when I said that I'm a time traveler, I was kind of kidding around. But back when I was younger, I had an apartment in Atlanta, Decatur actually, and I woke up one night to see these like sparkly lights in the corner of my room. Sparkly lights, like little fairy lights and stuff, just kind of like little orbs and stuff. And I thought, man, that's weird. I've seen ghosts and stuff. I figured it was a ghost or something. And so I kind of didn't think more about it. And I was like, that was cool. And then in the future, after I learned remote viewing, I went back and I was like, I want to go back and remote view, like kind of psychically tune into what that is. What I was in my room that night. And at that moment when I was doing it, I realized that was actually me in the future remote viewing myself in the past. Oh, wow. And that's what the sparkly lights
wow.
were. Yeah.
That's crazy.
It'll make your brain hurt, y'all.
Oh, I love this. The more I hear, the more I love this stuff.
Isn't that wild?
That's crazy. Yeah.
Well, we've actually I can sense when we've seen people spying on us while we were learning remote viewing and stuff. Like we would go down to my family has a farm or had a farm and a farmhouse. There was no like technology down there or anything, but it's just our big party house, but no like satellites, no phones, no cable, no TV, no nothing, no Wi-Fi. That's the best place to go do psychic stuff. It was away from all the frequencies, Yeah. And so we were down there doing it. And as we're learning, this was over, many years of learning, 10 years or something. We'd go down there as a team and spend weekends at a time together down there. And we would, when we were in the, getting into really remote viewing, like some interesting stuff, we would have people spying on us and we could see them. And they almost looked like ghosts and stuff. Like it was weird. They weren't sparkly lights. It was a little more nefarious, so. So if that answers your question.
Real quick from River Morris, our brother from down under. Says this is a picture of an Aboriginal tribe with a Junjadi brown jack circled right here. Now, assuming he's talking about this. Whoops, I'm on the wrong picture. This particular being right here.
That's cool.
Yeah,
I've seen that picture before. That's pretty neat.
That is cool.
Definitely different. Thank you for that, River.
Yeah, River.
Yeah.
And he's in chat. If you wanna give us some information, I can put it up on here for you, River, if you're still here. Maybe I got tired of waiting.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. So, Dogman.
Yeah,
Dogman. I want to hear all about it.
Yeah, I just did an investigation of Dogman on Thursday. Out here, we have so many Dogman sightings right now, y'all. It is really weird. We used to never get Dogman reports ever. I'm been doing this Bigfoot stuff since 2011, and the only thing I knew about Dogman was from Bob Grumpy Wilson. Bob, the head of my North Georgia Cryptid research team. He's one of the gentlemen who passed away that went in the portal. But Bob was like the region head of like the NADP, like the Dogman Project, for a while, and everything that I learned about Dogman was through Bob, and he showed me a lot of really good evidence on Dogman and stuff, but we weren't really getting calls about that or anything, like any kind of investigations too much. And it wasn't until I started podcasting, you know, and like got online, it's like, oh my gosh, like all these people are seeing dogman. What's up with that? And then all of a sudden there was like this huge surge in dogman sightings. And that's I'm getting more dogman reports now than we're getting Bigfoot reports.
Interesting.
It's quite popular. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know if there's like some sort of, I mean, here I am thinking, they've been released to the general public from the underground bases or something, you know.
Right.
I don't think they're natural. Yeah, the portal's opened, probably. But you know, and here's something that's also kind of weird too. I've had several eyewitnesses that have come forward and talked about being part of these programs and stuff, and I can tell you that at least two of those people that came on and were pretty convincing about them being part of these dogman programs I found out they were lying. Okay. And I've, you know, doing some background checks on some people. So it's always been kind of weird. It was always, until I had my own encounter and like really got into like going and researching them, I was questioning the whole dogman phenomenon for a minute. I don't know. I think people just think it's really cool. And for a minute, there were some people that were, you know, and also there are people trying to infiltrate some of these podcasting communities as well, the online communities, and put out disinformation and stuff. And it's hard to do that when you're dealing with the psychic lady over here, y'all. Okay, just saying.
Well, just like with UFOs, there's a disinformation. There's a community out there that's sent out for disinformation to give you, yeah.
You're starting to hear way more dogman encounters from this area.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a few here.
Yeah.
And I think there's a few more in Pennsylvania coming out.
Yes. Pennsylvania's got a lot of stuff up there.
Maybe that's the super soldiers they're putting out. So when we act up, they'll have to take care of us.
Yeah. You know, a good friend of mine, he also just passed away recently this year. Mark Maychek. He was a longtime field researcher out of the LBL in Kentucky.
Yeah.
And people knew him online as Cryptidville. He's come on my channel quite a bit, and he was my sidekick for a while there. And so he told me he had taken he'd seen plenty of dogmen himself up at the LBL. But he took a report out of the Fort Knox area up there in Kentucky of a dogman wearing spiked armor.
That's crazy.
Spiked armor?
Spiked armor. Yep. Spiked armor. That man didn't lie either. He didn't ever lie to me about stuff.
That's like something from Mad Max.
Exactly. I think it's kind of cool. I mean, talk about super soldiers.
Yeah,
as long as they're not unleashing those on the general public, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
But you never
Michael,
know.
I'm sorry.
No, okay.
Michael X said, didn't Bob also appear to turn into an orb and travel across the meadow?
He did. Yes, we've had a lot. Listen, y'all just heard some of my stories tonight. Actually, the majority of all the high strangeness revolved around Bob. We call him Grumpy. The majority of the high strangeness definitely revolved around Bob. He was the high strangeness magnet out there.
Wow.
And he actually did turn into an orb. It was watched by multiple people out there. And it was weird because his GPS was like, he just remembered going from spot A to spot B, but his GPS, you know, he tracked him, and it looked like it was like all over the place, like a dog on crack or something. It was wild. And yeah, he didn't remember taking any of those routes or anything. But people observed him. Some of the guys on the team observed him actually turn into an orb and shoot across the field. It was wild.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a cool place, man. It's a cool place. But, you know, that's why I tell people, be careful going places by yourself. Always let somebody know where you're going, and watch your six.
Oh, definitely.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Like he said, Larry says Ohio has had more dogman sightings and encounters than any state for the last 3 to 5 years, maybe longer.
Yeah, they have. There's been the huge, they're calling it a Bigfoot flap. That's the weirdest word. Bigfoot flap. Up in Ohio. You know, I have a good buddy of mine. His name's Mike. He's got a YouTube channel called MT Paranormal Life, and he goes out and does boots on the ground investigations. He puts them live on his YouTube channel on Thursday nights now. It is awesome. He's actually picked up actual Bigfoots in his feed, like real time and stuff. One of them looked like Chewbacca. up in Ohio. He's in Portage County. Portage County is where all those Bigfoot sightings were this past year.
Okay.
I think it was the beginning of the year, maybe.
Yeah, I think sounds about right.
Yeah.
Portage County. I mean, they've got weird, the Defiance werewolves are out of Ohio. I've covered those on my shows and stuff. And I don't know that I have that video. I don't know if you guys know Colleen. It used to be Colleen Norris, but she's the lady that has that video of the grave digging dogman out of Akron, Ohio. And that's one of my favorite videos. I don't know. I think it's a real dogman. I don't know. Some people think it could be the girls who shot the video thought it was a dirty lady digging in the ground of the cemetery. But Colleen went out and investigated this. And are y'all familiar with this video? Y'all seen it?
Grave digging dogman.
Y'all haven't seen that?
I've not seen that. No.
Oh my God. Okay, so let me set it up real quick because it's there's two teenage girls. They were working at a local restaurant in this area. There's this big modern cemetery, not like old school. It's like a modern cemetery. There's a mausoleum right beside where this plot was, where this thing was digging. And Colleen Norris, that's right. And so these girls are taking Colleen called it their supper break. They were on their supper break from their restaurant they worked out. These two girls were good friends with Colleen's daughter. And so they were driving through the cemetery on their break, and they saw this like person. They thought it was a dirty woman, a woman covered in dirt. This thing was kneeled down on its knees, and it had its arms were flailing in the air side to side. And the girl pulled out her phone. She started videoing it, and you could hear the girls talking. Their conversation is like, "What is that? Like, what is she doing?" And this thing, when in the video, you can see it's clearly black and it has pointed ears on top of its head. Hillary's got the video.
Yeah, I'm watching it. I think I'm watching the right one, but there it is.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah,
the girls need to sit still.
Yeah, well, they didn't know they were going to get some of if this is a real dogman, some of the best video footage there is of one. And so they're seeing the story behind it. Here's the backstory. This is wild. Okay. So the girls are watching this. This thing is clearly like just frantically digging in the ground. And this is a cemetery. Well, turns out it was digging into a cremains burial plot where they put urns with cremains in them. Well, the girls left. They didn't stick around for this, but they got the video. They were weirded out by it. So they gave it to Colleen the next day. And Colleen went out. She's a Bigfoot field investigator and a researcher. So she went out there to go investigate this thing. She went to the cemetery. This was on a Friday night, I think. On Saturday, she went. She said there was a hole, a very deep hole. It was a skinny hole, size of like hands. And there was a knee print in the dirt where this thing was on its knees and it was like digging. Well, she measured the hole, the depth of it, and it was too long for human arms to have dug that. Okay. And she said that, and so she got pictures of the dirt. She saw that it was an empty plot because the person that was buried beside this empty plot was her friend. She knew the guy, and she knew that right beside him was where his wife was to be buried, but she was still alive. So whatever this thing was, it was digging in that woman's grave, her plot that was empty. And so if you blow up the pictures and you do some analysis on it, it looks like it's all black and it has pointed ears on top of its head and long arms. And they never get the thing running off or anything. It's just the video is just this thing just digging frantically. And so so Colleen went, okay, she was like, well, that's weird. So she took her measurements, did whatever she was going to do. She did her investigation. She went back the next day and she wanted to see like any good researcher, okay, well, what's going to happen here? Okay, like, has the cemetery staff done anything about this? Like, is anybody making a big deal about this? So she goes on Sunday, the hole's still there. Nothing's changed. And she goes then again on Monday morning. She gets there on Monday. The hole has been covered up and it has like a dome of dirt over it, and it has flowers stuck in it like somebody has been buried there. But see, she knows that's an empty plot. And so she goes to the office. She goes, hey, well, what happened here? And there, she was like, that's an empty plot, but it looks like somebody got buried there. And they said, oh, it was some animals that were dug into the ground. It happens all the time.
No, I just watched that. That's one of the creepiest things I've ever seen.
I couldn't find it.
I sent it to Jerry. I think he's got it. I
It's
sent
in the chat. Hillary put it in the chat. I saw that.
Did she?
Yeah, I just looked at it. That is.
Isn't it wild?
Oh my God.
Yeah, she sent me the original video. I have the original video of that, and it's really good. And some still shots that Colleen took out of the video.
You can tell that's good. A real video because no one's holding still. They're like, oh my God.
It's fantastic. It's one of the, I think that's better. There are people that argue about that because there does seem to be a mausoleum beside it, and people are like, oh, it there was a car parked down the ways, little ways and stuff. And so people are like,
the arm movement.
Mm-hmm.
That's what does it for me, is the arm movement.
Mm-hmm. I've analyzed the crap out of that thing, y'all. I think it's a real dog man personally. And it's right there.
Some arms.
Well, that is
some long arms.
And it's the same dark color black like the thing that I saw in Alabama was the exact same color. It's dark, and there's a pattern of these things being seen in that area. Colleen has taken reports of them all over the highway, right behind the cemetery, right there, and all over the area. Wow. And for whatever reason, there's just a whole bunch of them out there. Yeah, it's a good video. So
that is creepy.
Yeah, and that is what time of the day is that, Jessica?
It's the middle of the day. A lot of these sightings, a lot of these sightings are. It was probably about to get dark, probably, but because they were on their supper break, so that's a dinner break. So it would have been like in the later evening, probably, but it was still light out. Yeah, I know, right?
Some crazy stuff, but that right there, I don't.
It's a good one. Yeah, there's when people ask like, well, where's the evidence? There's evidence out there, y'all. And it's up to you to decide if you want to believe this is a real dog man or not. I don't know. I don't know nothing about nothing. I did that was given to me as a remote viewing target. I do believe it's real. Okay, and so yeah, that's part of the reason my team is trained in remote viewing. The head of my team wanted us to be able to go back and he give us like targets for weird stuff that's happened to our team, find out what happened when we had missing time, that kind of stuff. You don't always want to know the answers either. It's not comfortable knowing.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Did you just watch it, Danny?
You just now seeing it, Danny. Isn't that crazy?
That is wild. That's like it looks like a big gorilla when a gorilla's doing something.
Yeah.
Watch it when the arm comes out to the side.
Mm-hmm.
That thing has hands.
Yeah, that thing's pretty big too. If you think the distance from them to it, oh my God, that's wild.
The arm reach is what gets me.
I guess they did the smart thing, really. I know Bigfoot Bubba was upset they didn't drive towards it. But
there's always,
do you blame young?
Yeah,
young
but
people?
not everybody's going to go toward,
right.
Not be like a fireman and go in the fire.
Yes.
Yeah, when something's standing in the thermal on the side of the road and it's scratching its chin, looking at you, that's probably a good time to not walk off into the.
Agreed.
He showed me that whole video when we were in Gettysburg, and I'm watching it going, yeah, I wouldn't be going towards it, bud. I don't know what your thought process was there.
Yeah. Those girls are pretty brave for getting that. You know what I mean? They're pretty brave for even getting what they got.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It didn't appear to be paying them any attention. So
it was not. Well, the question becomes like, what in the hell is it doing? Like, okay, let's say for instance, that is a dirty lady. It is an old lady that's like frantic. She's having a mental breakdown, right? It had to be a human having a mental breakdown, wearing a furry outfit.
I don't believe those are the arms of an old lady, though. Older lady.
No, their arms are too long. No, the arms are too long, y'all. It's just crazy. And the hands are big too. Look at the way the hands are shaped. It looks like it has claws.
It was an old woman that had been a basketball player.
Yeah, it could be.
Mary had said that Kumbo explained that they will dig in fresh dirt, eating the dirt for the minerals.
I mean, we've even discussed it, maybe like digging for something. Like, was it digging? People are like, oh, it's digging for bones. Well, there's no bones there. That's a cremain site. There's nothing there. And if it's got a sense of a dog, the senses of a dog, it's going to know there's like nothing there. Maybe it buried something. I mean, Eric was telling me, he's like, well, maybe it was a portal. It's looking for a portal key or something. I mean, the possibilities are endless. Is what.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
But I mean, as long as it's digging out there and not in my backyard, I'm okay.
That's right.
Don't come digging around
Don't
my
worry,
house.
if I go out here tonight and there's something digging up my yard and I see these long arms, I'm gonna be like, yeah.
Okay.
I'll be listening for the gunshots.
Right.
Yeah.
We know what you're going to be doing, Jeff.
I get along pretty well with Bigfoot. That, on the other hand,
Yeah, I've got a friend. Whenever we was at their house, he's him and his wife was telling us stories about squatches coming up on their on the deck. And he told me, he said, Danny, he said, one night I looked out the front door and there was one just walking right across the driveway here.
Whoa.
That's interesting. I just wonder what it was digging up.
Yeah, that's because you can
They
see
said
how
that
wide the
again.
shoulders were and how wide the body was.
The grease. Yeah. Yeah. I feel like it now was the thing in that cemetery. Is it burying something or is it digging something up? That's another question.
Yeah.
Could be burying something.
and why did
But
they
the hole's
cover it
still
up and put all those flowers in it?
Well, the cemetery, exactly. That is so suspicious, isn't it? With the cemetery staff, they said that it
Didn't you
happens
say
all the
someone was
time.
supposed to be buried in that spot?
There's nobody buried there. The woman's still alive. Her husband's
Okay.
buried beside it. So in that spot, that one spot, the woman is still living, but it's her spot when she dies.
Well, didn't
Her
you say that,
husband
that
was
the
dead.
hole
Mhm.
that is, who got to look at the hole?
Colleen did. She went out there and measured the hole. She gave me the precise measurements. I did a show on it. It's over on my channel. If you guys want, I've interviewed Colleen on my channel. Just look up Ohio Grave Digging Dogman on my channel. I can send y'all a link if you want to watch it.
Okay.
And it
Yes,
was from a
please,
couple of
yeah.
years ago. It's been a while. It's probably been 3 or 4 years since she came on my show. It's been a while. But it's, I mean, like I said, I think it's some of the best evidence. But she took measurements all the way down to the bottom of the hole just to get an idea of the arm's length, and she got, pictures of the impression where its knee was on that dirt.
Wow.
And stuff.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
That was a wild video. I mean, yeah, Jeff. I mean, it's like you could see it doing, throwing its arms out.
Yeah. I just don't see. I can't see that being
A
overrated.
person.
Not with the
Not
arms. Not with the arm. Just it's a pretty big arm. Pretty long arm.
It was.
Could you imagine if the guy that worked there was walking around the corner of the building when that happened?
Oh my god! I mean, and also like, imagine with your it would tear your fingernails off your hands.
Oh,
I would think.
absolutely.
Wouldn't it?
We're not
yeah.
meant to
There's
do that.
rocks.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's all sorts of like sediment and rocks and God knows what down there.
Even, I mean, Jessica, you being a female, even if you grow your fingernails, you're still not doing that because you'll break your fingernails off.
My fingernails break all the time. I can't even. Yeah, I'm always into something. So yeah, it would never work, never work. But that is some pretty compelling evidence. I do believe
There's
if
your
that's a
link.
real dog man, it's a good one.
That's the link to your show.
Digging dog man.
Hillary is on it.
Thank you, Hillary. You're good, Hillary. Thank you.
Hillary
bomb.
is like our top notch. She's the
I love it.
Her and Pops.
always
Her and
been
Pops
back
keep
there.
us
Mom.
informed.
Yep. Her and
I
Pops.
actually have several grave digging dogman videos. So it maybe there's. I just did a show with gosh, who came on the show with me? I can't remember. I know that I don't know if y'all know Barton Nunley out of Barton,
Oh, yeah.
out of
Yeah.
Kentucky. He's a good friend of mine, and Barton had actually taken this eyewitness report out of Kentucky of a grave. They call it the Kentucky grave digger, and that was given to me as a remote viewing target too. I did a show about 3 weeks ago on that. I think 2 weeks or 3 weeks, and I was lumping that one in because they consider this to be like a ghoul or something. They lump it in. I lumped it in with other grave digging dogmen that have been seen. They're all over. Ohio, Michigan had one, or Wisconsin. I can't remember. Yeah, they're just dogmen have often been seen digging into Indian burial mounds and regular cemeteries, old cemeteries and modern cemeteries.
Yeah.
So the Kentucky
Wow.
gravedigger, I don't think that was a dogman though. Yeah. It's weird. What's the fascination, y'all? I don't know.
Good
What's
question.
the fascination?
Yeah, what's the fascination of the dogmen digging into these graves? You know, some people think that maybe there's a connection with like Anubis, the Egyptian god of the underworld,
Well,
because a lot of these do look like Anubis, but even though he's a jackal, not a dog. But and
why does St. Christopher have a dog's head?
well, and we don't know the true history of our land that we're living on right now, too.
Absolutely right.
And you know, you go to anywhere around Georgia. You know, I just talked to y'all about that the Indian burial mound that was leveled up in Whitleyville, and all that activity that's been taking place there. How many Indian burial mounds have been leveled, and how many Mayan pyramids and ruins? And so we have Mayan ruins in Georgia up in at Track Rock Gap. And I mean, what is our true history? I also have proof. I have newspaper clippings and some research I've done on our man-made lakes around the South, covering up crucial history, like Egyptian temples under Norris Lake in Tennessee. Lake Norris has an Egyptian temple underneath it and stuff. Like, what else have they've covered up 23 Indian burial mounds in addition to that at Lake Norris. I mean, like, what else is being hidden from us? And could this explain why we have so many cryptid sightings around these areas?
Well,
Are they guarding these areas?
I tell everybody they need to start keeping books, paper books, because you can erase the internet, but you can't erase paper books. So if you know things that were written back you can burn them and throw them away. That's the problem probably about history. But history's always changed. You know, you talk to your grandparents or your great grandparents, and they'll tell you a whole different story about what they saw or what they've experienced over the years. And then now you find out, well, that wasn't really happening. You know, it wasn't
usually
real.
There's a footprint on the internet though. Once it's on the internet, you know, but
What
you and
about
I may
minerals?
not be able to find it.
Right.
What type of minerals are in the ground in that area? Or, I mean, a lot of people say that quartz with Bigfoot and ghosts. Could there be like some type of minerals that they're trying to?
Oh my God! Everywhere I go, I bring back crystals and quartz and stuff from all the locations that I research. Even at this location I went to in Northwest Georgia on Thursday, I did that Dogman Bigfoot Skinwalker investigation at this family's farm out there. And it's nothing but quartz, like a huge vein of quartz just everywhere. We actually found 4 arrowheads on their property, like white quartz arrowheads on her property, walking out there. It's like, it's beautiful. But there's also, you know, there's I'm going to say like an indigenous aspect to all this too, like Native American, I think. But also I think it even goes back even deeper, I think, with like Egyptian settlements and stuff here too. And we truly don't know what our history is here fully. And I think that has something to do with these I think these are sacred lands, and the cryptids have been put here to protect it. That's what I think.
I agree.
Good job.
I'm thinking I might need to invest in silver bullets at this point.
Yes, bless those bullets. Absolutely. Some holy water. We all need to carry around a spray bottle of that.
My head.
Yeah, right. Super soaker.
If anybody wonders why I'm at the church tomorrow, I'll be getting the priest blessing up.
Right?
Why is Jeff at church today?
That's unexplainable. That's weird.
Now,
I got to go back and watch that again.
Sweden had a point. Maybe there could be gophers burrowing around the because she said around her parents' grave sites they had gophers that would dig into the. So maybe it was trying to get at something that was digging in there.
It was hungry.
Gopher Man. That's a new one.
Worms.
Oh Lord.
Gopher Man.
Gopher Man. There is an otter man up in Alaska. The Kustika, actually. Actually, that's a good one. It's like a shape-shifting siren or something. It can talk like a human and lure people out in the water, and then it drowns them and eats them out of it.
The more we talk about this stuff, the less things sound crazy.
Well, I know. Yeah. Listen, welcome to my world. Yeah.
Well, it opens your mind up. I mean, you got to have an open mind and all.
You got to have an open mind.
Open mind is the best way to be about anything, because you don't know until you see it yourself. Mm-hmm. So you got to think about it.
It's like I always say, research. You've got to do it. Don't let somebody else do it for you.
Yeah.
A lot of our old barns over here have horseshoes nailed to them.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Yes.
It's that
Every
In
iron.
fact,
way,
my basement door has a horseshoe nailed over top of it. This
Keeping the
house,
upside
vampire
down
out.
or right side up.
I think,
Should be like this.
I think the end is up.
Well, I guess that's good. I don't know.
Well, if you,
I think
I'll
it's
have
to
to
keep
go look
vampires
at it after we get off of here. I'll go see which direction it's pointing.
Yeah.
well,
That's
if you've got
awesome.
horseshoes on your barn, maybe there was horses in there at one time.
No, well, we had a couple of horses, but it was mostly cows.
It's a superstitious thing,
Yeah.
and also people when they put like is
Uh-oh.
made out of iron, isn't it? Aren't they made out of iron? I think
Yeah,
that
they're
has
made
something to
out of
do with
Yeah.
they keep the
The
bad
old
spirits
ones
out.
were iron.
Mm-hmm.
Let me ask you this. I've
There
heard,
he is. There's
Eric.
E.J. Chesterman. There's Eric.
I've heard talk of not particularly keeping a welcome mat at your front door.
Hell no. Go away.
That's right.
Everybody should have a
Vampires.
go away mat on their door.
I
Actually
have a Squatch. He's
Yeah,
about this tall, and it says "Go away."
go away. Yes. Don't ever that invites things into your home. I actually when I was younger, when I was working, when I had a real job back in the day, I was living in Atlanta and I lived in this haunted house. I was renting an apartment in a haunted house. And I woke up one morning to my doorbell ringing. And it was like 3 a.m. And that wasn't unusual because I lived in the bar district. My friends would want to crash on my couch in the middle of the night. Sometimes some of my best friends, my girlfriends and stuff. And so I just didn't even think twice about it. And I opened up my door to the hallway and started walking down, and I got a bad feeling. And I had all my lights off. I always kept my lights off. I'm pretty sure I probably was armed, let's just say, just in case. And I got down to the door, and they had like a window at the top of the door at the end of the hallway. And I just kind of peeked out in the shadows where they couldn't see me. And there was a man standing there with black eyes, all black eyes. And you hear about the black-eyed children. This was a black-eyed person, completely black-eyed. I actually did a short video on it last week. I still remember exactly what he was wearing and everything. And I thought, well, maybe he's just high on something, but absolutely not. He was not human. There's no way that man was not human. But he had black eyes, and that's one thing. Like you give them, even having a welcome mat in front of your door gives them an opening to come into your home and stuff. And that's on like a spiritual sense. And so I always tell everybody, you're not welcome in my house. Like, don't put a welcome mat out. Anything that's like welcoming people or anything into your home, it's going to welcome the wrong things into your house potentially. And so I don't know, just stay protected. It's also about your intention as well. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't like people living in fear. So just have the intention of like not allowing anything bad into your home.
Right.
But
That's
no
what
welcome
I
mats.
heard. I just wanted your version of it. Yeah.
Yeah, no welcome mats. We don't have any at my house.
Hey, Jerry, there's lightning flying all over right now. I'm going to get out of here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's all red around us.
She's
So.
on pace to beat Kumbo from last week. So.
Hey, I can always come back in the future. We can finish this.
Oh,
Anytime.
we'll definitely gonna have you
that'd be
back.
fine.
Please do.
Yes,
Please do.
yes,
Yeah.
Chad, don't take a chance. We
Write that
understand.
down on the
Thank you.
calendar.
Bye, Jessica. Thanks for coming
Bye,
on.
Chad.
Chad.
Thank you so much for having me.
Bye,
See you
buddy.
guys.
Bye. Be safe.
Night, bud.
Thank you.
Yeah, we
We don't
finally
play
got
with
rid of the
lightning.
storms around our area. I was looking at the radar just a few minutes ago. I noticed it was quiet.
Yeah, we had them here too. Our power went out right before the show, actually. It came back on. I was like,
That
oh,
sounds
crap.
like my luck.
Yeah. It came back on. The internet was out for a second, but no biggie. Yeah.
Yeah, I was having problems with my internet right at the beginning of the show, and all of a sudden it just cleared up.
Nice.
Now,
It was a miracle.
Jessica,
Meant to
this
be.
is something I was wondering. Do you think, like Dogman with like Bigfoot, do you think there's ones that aren't nasty and there's some that are? You think there's that? I wonder about that.
Mhm. Well, the majority of the reports that we're getting of dogmen, they're not violent
Yeah,
at
I
all.
feel like you get more violent Bigfoot reports than you get.
You do.
I think the Dogman's just creepier looking most of the time, and that's probably why it.
Yeah. Well, they get a bad rap. They get a bad rap. If you go on YouTube and you look at all the shows and stuff of like dog is like dog man attack, and slaughtered a family and all this stuff. And it's really just
Clickbait.
sensationalized, I think.
It's a lot of clickbait.
It is. Well, it gets the views, trust me. Ask me how I know. It gets the views.
I always love when somebody puts a title up and it has nothing to do with what's happening on the I'm watching, I'm like
yeah, like that. It's wild. It's wild. And listen, I try to not ever do any false advertisement on my channel. Okay. And but we get down and dirty with these topics and stuff. And I bring people on with real encounters and stuff on my channel. And I have my own experiences as well. So that's why I just love talking about this stuff. Honestly, I just like connecting dots, and I like really, I just wanted to know if Bigfoot was real. I just want to know if Dogman's real. I want to know if all this stuff's real, and I want to get the reports and us compare notes on it. And yeah, if there is a government connection, which I think there is, and maybe that explains, and maybe it's not like the United States government, maybe it's like some agency or paramilitary or something doing this. I don't know. Could be any kind of, could be a private organization or something. I mean, I don't know.
I was going to ask you what you thought about that. If you think the government could be involved somehow.
Absolutely. I mean, listen, I have been doing this long enough online and being public to be able to point out plants in our, communities and stuff. So I hate to say that. I'm just going to be frank with y'all. I think that there's people that are put in place to try to throw us off track with some of this stuff and come in and tell them some tall tales and, and I still entertain it occasionally. I like to hear what they have to say.
Hillary, if Hillary's a plant, she's the best plant I've seen.
Yes.
Well, park rangers.
Hey, y'all need to ask Hillary about the DG portals. Okay. Dollar General. Yes, Dollar General portals.
That's interesting, Bucky. I had a situation with a park ranger here at a local state park that we camp at. It's 15 minutes away. And this guy that I talked to, I mean, he was gung-ho. He was coming to our campsite to sit down at the campfire and talk because I had Bigfoot sticker on the back window of my truck. And he was all about it. He wanted to come back. I've never seen that man again.
Yeah.
The camp host was there, and she was part of the conversation.
Yeah, like Les and I that time.
I got that trail cam photo,
And Jerry, I hear about this Catman stuff, that almost looks like a cat's head.
Sort of.
It does.
I'll sneak that picture over to Jessica, and she can put her voodoo on it and see what you think.
And guess what happened when I went? I unknowingly volunteered myself to camp right next to that exact site, and Jerry was all snug in his RV, and I was in one of Pat Noble's tents that he gave me, and
the RV got slapped.
The RV did get slapped that night.
Backside the RV got slapped. We were sitting. Mark and Rebecca had just left to go back to their motel.
Yeah.
And my wife was in the RV, and he and I are sitting at the campfire talking. And she goes and opens the door and says, "Didn't you guys hit the RV?" No. And he thought, so I heard something hit the RV. Yeah. I didn't because I'm busy.
And before that, we had caught something on the thermal up in the woods. Mark had actually called us over there and said, "Hey, there's something moving around up here." And we went and looked, and we caught what originally looked like a rock, and then it expanded and started moving around up there on the hill.
It's an interesting area.
But of course, I forgot to turn the recording feature on my thermal. So,
well, my dash cam kept going off.
You forgot to check it, and then it recorded over.
Yeah, it recorded over.
Man, that's awesome.
Yeah,
and that's right there by the river.
Where is that again? Is that in Maryland?
Yeah,
that's in Maryland, right here in Harford County. Yeah, right along the Susquehanna River. Yeah.
Yep.
Dang, I might have to come up there sometime and come do some investigating.
There's definitely, especially the peninsula on the other side of the river. It's definitely.
And we're an hour and a half from Gettysburg, so.
Oh my God! I've always wanted to come up there.
Gettysburg's awesome.
And it's more seasonal, but I get activity over here on the farm.
On the farm, that's what.
Man,
I tell you what.
He has an occasional bobcat go through there.
Yeah.
Well, that's the farm that I investigated on Thursday. I think the reason the activity has really picked up the past couple of years at their house, and I think it's because of all the growth they're putting in subdivisions and stuff. and it's pushing all of the cryptids, like the dogmen, the things that are on her property, are coming in because they're building these subdivisions out there and stuff.
Yes.
And I guess they got like a safe haven over there with all her cows and her horses and stuff, and all her chickens.
Yeah, I
And,
buy. Hillary just said, "Tell you about the." I buy spirit hay from
Haunted hay.
Gettysburg. I buy they bail the battlefields.
No way.
I haven't
They
seen
sell
any.
it?
I haven't seen any ghosts come out of the bales yet.
Oh
But-
God.
But I did have a truck driver that bales hay up there, and he had left his excursion parked on one of those farms one night, and he was driving. He got in it, and he was driving back to the main place, and he looked over, and there was a Confederate soldier sitting in his passenger seat,
Oh God.
and it
Oh, wow.
sat there almost the entire time. It started to fade away, but he called a friend of his that was the guy was a reenactment guy. He was real big into reenactments, and he's like, was there a Confederate encampment over on so and so road? And he's like, give me an hour, I'll call you back. And then he's like, yeah, and he's like, what happened? And he told him, and he described everything the guy was wearing. He's like, that was a cavalry officer. You gave a cavalry officer a ride.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And
That
this
just
dude
reminded
was
me.
like a big biker, and he looked like he was about to
Yeah.
cry when he was telling me about this.
I mean, I would probably about cry too. That sounds kind of scary.
I was like,
Well,
what did you do? He's like, I just said, hey, how's it going? As he's driving, this goes back to.
You know, you got to think about like the ghosts, like the soldiers back then. They didn't have vehicles like we have today, so they're probably weirded out by that.
Well,
Just
apparently
off the ride.
he
Take
liked
me
port
home.
excursions.
That's wild. Well, Carolina Case Files, I want to say hello to you and there. And I love your YouTube channel. I did cover one of their cases on my channel about it was like a pale crawler or something jumped in that man's truck. There was a guy up in, have y'all heard about this in Carolina?
Yeah.
North Carolina. It's by a Revolutionary War battlefield, I believe.
Yep.
And the guy was driving, he called 911 at like 3-something in the morning. And it was
Yeah.
like, saw a bloody soldier on the side of the road. And then something jumped in the back of his truck. And I think what he did, he sped up and he slammed on his brakes and it went flying over the front of his truck and it got up and it ran off. It's wild, y'all. That's wild. That's my kind of a night right there.
You almost
But
wonder if it was like a skinwalker or something like that had jumped in the bed of the truck.
I think it was a pale crawler. That's what I think. I
He
don't
said it
know.
looked like he was wearing clothes. That was,
The
That's
one that flew over his truck.
yeah.
Ooh, I don't know, but wouldn't a pale crawler then? I don't know. That's wild. That's cool because it's actually 911 recorded. And my sister was a dispatcher with the sheriff's department out here, and that's how I actually started learning about the Paulding werewolves over here in Georgia. I grew up in that county actually, and we have tons of dogman and werewolf sightings. Matter of fact, it's really wild. I was finding out, my sister called me one day. She was like, hey, we just got a call from this couple a mile down the road from my house. And she said they thought they'd hit a wolf or big dog. They said they were freaking out because this big black wolf, after they hit it, it got up and it ran off on 2 legs. She was like, it ran off on 2 legs. And I was like, oh, that's a mile from my house. Great. So, yeah, one of the guys on my team was actually, some of the guys used to be on BFRO's teams and stuff back in the day before they all got kicked out. But anyways, they didn't get kicked out. Some of them. But
yeah,
but
Michael
go
ahead.
yeah, they were taking some of these reports and stuff out of the county that I lived in before I met them. And one of the reports was like a 9-foot tall werewolf in the county where I lived, and an entire family watched this thing. I mean, we're talking about huge, gigantic. I mean, 9 feet tall. That's huge. Okay, especially for a werewolf. And they're actually, you can find these reports on BFRO.net if you guys want to go look up Paulding County in Georgia, Floyd County, Paulding, wherever Dalton's at and stuff. There's some of these reports are supposed to be Bigfoot, but they're actually dogmen reports. And so I commend BFRO for that. I'm glad they include those reports on their website. So, oh, and by the way, another thing too is like where a lot of these sightings are of the dogmen in Paulding are 10 miles south of the Etowah Indian Mound. And so about 10 minutes south, I think there's definitely a connection between these. Indian burial mounds and these dogman sightings.
Yeah, Michael Lex, we reached out to him back in our early goings of. I think we weren't even. We were Mason Dixon cryptid still back then, I think, but we could not get him to come on. He's. We wanted to speak with him about the alba twitch.
Oh yeah, the apple thrower.
Yeah, because we're right across the river from Lancaster, and that's where the alba twitch is known.
Yeah, that's right up the road here.
What do y'all think those are? You think they're Bigfoots?
I really haven't invested. I don't know.
Our first co-host, he was convinced he had them at his place, but he was a little. I don't know.
Yeah.
But we did reach out to Runner and to no avail. He wasn't. Did he even respond back, Jeff? I don't think he did.
I don't remember because I think
the other guy, that
was in charge of that, and
yes, but never could get him to. And Mary just said she tried to get him on, he never responded. So
there was also an alba twitch guy we tried to contact, and he got back to me, but he didn't want to. He doesn't.
He got sick. Didn't he have a heart attack or something? And was in the hospital.
Yeah, but it was after that, I think, that I talked to him, and he said he wasn't really interested in, doing.
Oh my!
Some of these people just won't do podcasts about stuff.
Here we go. We're going back to the cat people reported in a park in Missouri.
Mm-hmm.
I believe DA was going to start directing his attention to some of that, but I know he's busy.
I heard that they were shooting at them.
Yeah, the game wardens actually opened fire on them.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow!
I think they were getting chased back to their trucks or something, and they had to throw some discouragement at them to get back to.
Yeah, the alba twitch is definitely. Sorry, Jeff. Definitely shorter Bigfoot or a juvenile sort, but they are like 4 foot, 3 to 4 foot tall. I believe it is. Mary, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, that's what Mary just said, that Rick Fisher's backed off on that stuff.
Okay.
Jessica, when's your show, your podcast on? Any specific day and time or anything?
Yeah, I do. I do 4 live shows a week. I have shows every Monday and Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern, my daytime shows, and then I have a Thursday night show at 8 o'clock Eastern, and a Saturday night show at 10 p.m. Eastern, and they're all live.
Okay.
And so thank you for asking. I'm always online somewhere.
Do you have time to go out?
I do. Yeah, I do. I make time.
Get your boots out on the ground.
Yeah, I go. I got time usually. My son just went back to school on Monday too. So what was that? Today's only Tuesday. She's only been at school for 2 days.
Do they still have that festival? Mary, the Alba Twitch Festival. I forgot about that.
Oh, there's such great cryptid festivals around these days. Like, I just love it. Small town.
There's some here that we didn't even know about, and we miss them because we find out about them afterwards, and we're like, I didn't know they had one of those over there.
There's one coming up in Pennsylvania, as a matter of fact.
Do they have any Dogman festivals?
Dogman festivals? I don't know. I've not been to one. I don't know. Maybe I should start one. I don't know.
Danny, start one. West Virginia.
Hey.
Oh yeah, that'd be awesome. Yeah,
I know. We'll get it started.
Gopher man. Gopher man. Oh my God. Well, I just actually, I've been encouraging people to do their own like Bigfoot town halls wherever they live. I just did one I think it was in May. I can't remember. I just did a Bigfoot town hall. I did it at a place that was called a Macintosh Reserve in West Georgia. It's full of Bigfoots out there. Okay, a great, wonderful place where you can go Bigfooting and stuff. But yeah, it's right on the Chattahoochee River out here. And we had a great crowd show up. A lot of my friends from North Carolina drove down for it and stuff. And people, I just really wanted to do it to get the community involved, out here in this area. People have written books about their Bigfoot encounters out this way where I live. And I'd love to have like an interactive map where people could kind of put like a pinpoint where some of their sightings were, not if they wanted to, I'm not out here trying to like expose people's areas and stuff and their homes, because a lot of people are real weird about that. And another thing is like, I've been told certain organizations, you report your Bigfoot sighting to at your house, and next thing you know, you got the black helicopter showing up and unmarked vehicles, and then your Bigfoots are missing. They never show back up again. And so, I don't know. I just wanted to get kind of the community together and let people know that, there's some of us out here that would love to come and investigate and, just be there to be like a support system for people that are having, issues at their house and their farms and stuff. So yeah, it's fun.
When I drove up to Maine the last time I went up there hunting, that one town we drove through on the way up to where we were going, and keep in mind, this is about an hour from where Dogman and Palmyra was. I've hunted not far from that property.
Oh,
I haven't been
pack.
there, but there were not Dogman, but there were Bigfoot cutouts on almost. It seemed like every third house I drove past, there was somebody had like an 8-foot cutout of a Bigfoot on the side of their shed or something.
Yeah,
it's a good indicator.
Dogman cutouts.
Yeah, werewolves.
I haven't seen Dogman cutouts yet, but maybe
There's plenty of
if
them
I
around.
see one in the yard, I'll just throw it some Alpo and go back in the house and see if,
You
Yeah,
still
somebody
make
mentioned
alpha.
about throwing a steak.
The lady whose property I went to on Thursday, she's actually got like, she said, she was like, look, I know it sounds crazy and I don't know. She picked the right person to tell this to because she started talking about how she started getting these like psychic connections to something on her property. And something, she would hear a voice in her head that was like, don't go over there or stay over here. And you don't mess with us. We won't mess with you and stuff like that. And it was like really ominous and weird. And she said that she would, mind speak. She was getting mind speak. And so she said that there would be nights where like she would hear something walking around her house at night on 2 feet. And her husband just thought she was being kind of crazy. Like he's totally cut off of all this. Like he doesn't even entertain it at all. He's like, no, it's the animals outside. It's what she said. No, it's absolutely not. It's not the animals outside. And we found plenty of track lines. I've got 100% proof there's definitely Bigfoots and dogmen on her property, I do believe. And I, like I said, I have the evidence of it. But she said that she would hear, like she heard something walking around her house one night. She got up the next day and something had urinated on her garage door. And it was up too high to be a dog. But she said it was like a dog. And it smelled horrible. She said that she couldn't get the smell off. No matter how much she scrubbed it, the smell wouldn't go away. And so I'm definitely, she said that just the mind speak alone is intriguing for me, but to see this, the sign, I got some good hair samples while I was out there and stuff.
Physical evidence, yeah.
This is, but the garage had been peed on. That is a very common factor on people who have dogmen around their homes. They'll come pee on your house, by the way. If y'all didn't already know that.
Pretty sure they'll pee where they want.
They pee wherever they want.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
how big did she say? How high up on the side of the door it was?
I took a picture of it. Yeah, it would have been like a human peeing on her door. Kind of, it was up high. It was like, I have a picture of her door. I won't ever show it to the public or anything, but and I put a little line where like she showed me. It's high. It's I'm gonna say like 2 or 3 feet. It's probably about 3 feet high. Yeah, something like that. Ouch.
Jeff's mouse hunting. In case you're curious, with the flashlight and he keeps getting up, he's after a mouse.
Oh yeah.
I've been having to resort to 22 bird shot in the house because these mice get caught. And they're so tiny they don't get stuck on the traps, and I don't usually mess with glue traps, and because they get stuck.
I caught 3 last weekend here at Mom's.
My mother's been doing the same thing. My mom just went and got her a mouse trap yesterday. She's caught 2 mice, they're real cute. She just drives them down the road. Let's smell.
No such thing as
They do make those live traps for mice.
She got a live trap.
I think it.
I put a dab of peanut butter in the center of the glue trap.
Oh God!
And that's how I got those 3.
Oh,
no, Hillary, the bird shot. It's that little 22 rat shot. It does not leave a mark on anything unless I hit the old antique white trim boards that looks like pepper on there. But I think this thing just laid down. It's sleeping in the corner, like
oh my God.
next to the air vent. What isn't it? I'll let it nap.
Oh man, I got a dog. If I had one up here, the dog would definitely go after it.
Well,
My dog.
the other day, my beagle started rooting around behind my kid's toy organizer, and he was starting to pull stuff out. And I'm like, "What are you doing?" And I stuck the light back then there, and they were staring at me. I'm like, "Oh Lord, this is not good."
Oh my God.
I was using a beagle to flush mice out.
Oh man, pesky mice.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, she keeps Chad active. We up to 95 and 100 here, and we're 2
That's
hours
great.
and 45 minutes in. Yeah.
And this is because we have the female Kumbo tonight.
Female, absolutely.
Hey,
Oh my
we
God.
had him last week. Now we've
Good
got,
way to follow up.
Yep.
Oh man. Well,
I
that's.
got to
mean,
get up early, so I can't be on too.
I know. I do have to go get
do
my kid to
too.
bed too because he's got school in the morning. So, but this has been really fun, y'all. I've really enjoyed it. I mean, I got plenty of other things we could talk about, but
You'll
we'll
be
save
back.
it for another day.
You'll be
Yeah.
back.
make a list. We'll have you back.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And if you got
Well,
any
I'm always-
pictures,
Yeah, I've got pictures. I'm always out and doing investigations, and I got tons of trips planned and stuff. And we didn't even get into my LBL experiences and all that stuff. Talking about getting trucks pushed and stuff. I was camping out with Martin Groves and Barton Nunley and Martin's wife and my friend Matt, call him War Criminal. We were camping out at this really crazy place, and one night we got ambushed at 2:00 in the morning by big old something or others. We don't know what they were. But they were pushing, they were right in front of us. We couldn't see them. They were pushing Martin's truck with him in it and stuff. While me and Matt were sitting there watching it. It was wild. So we can talk about that another time.
Yeah, definitely.
Good time.
Next show, we'll do that.
Yeah,
Okay.
for sure.
What do you think, Bucky?
I think it's time we say come back again. Definitely.
I'd love to come back, y'all. Y'all come over to my show too. Y'all come hang out on the Cryptid Huntress channel.
We'll
Do
definitely
that.
do it.
Yeah,
Do
we'll
that.
do that.
Please
I
do.
always try to catch yours, but I swear it's like I either don't get a notification or I see the notification before or after.
Yeah, YouTube's funny about that.
Yeah, YouTube's been messing with me lately. They've been messing with me a little bit. It's okay. They've been messing with everybody. They don't send out notifications for some reason. So, but I do have my schedule. It's on my Facebook and my website and stuff. And all my shows are listed there, my times and all that. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, we'll
like
go over and
yours.
check it out for sure. Yeah, man.
Yes, I've got to.
Y'all
I got
come
to
and
check
say
it out.
hey. Come say hey in the chat. We got the best chat room. Y'all got a good chat room too. Yeah. Come say hey. Say howdy.
Bleep, 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 bleep. That's all, folks.
Yeah, it's been popping off tonight.
Yeah, it's been very busy.
Today's night's been cool. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Heck yeah.
Awesome
I see
hosting, guys.
people in
Thank you,
here.
Mary.
Yeah, we
Jeez,
had a great chat
I
tonight.
try to do my best at getting people on.
Especially, she's been hey, there's BJ Lapierre. I haven't seen that name in a while.
She was moderating another chat tonight. She said she was going to stop in when she. BJ's up here in Pennsylvania. I met her last year at the.
We had her on several shows back.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay. Well,
Go
Yeah,
get
we
that
appreciate
kid
everybody
back.
tuning in tonight. And we got some guests lined up for next Tuesday as well, right, Joe?
Yep, Scott and Sheila Granger will be on next Tuesday.
Awesome.
Yep.
Love them.
Good show, too.
Yep.
Oh yeah, that reminds me, y'all. I'll be at I'm going to speak at their event in October. If anybody wants to come out to South Alabama, the Cornwallis 1828 Bigfoot Town Hall. It's a free event on a Saturday, October 3rd. So y'all come see us down there.
Yeah, I'm
If
going to
you're
be in
down in
Maine.
Alabama.
I'm going to be leaving for Maine, so I won't be. Once again, hunting season interferes with the.
Well, y'all come see me. Patrick, I see you in here. Patrick, you better come down there. Okay.
Oh, he'll be there. Patrick will be
Patrick's
there.
watching.
Sure.
He's always watching me.
I'm surprised Flat Rock's not in here tonight. He must have a booger on his porch or something, or staring
that?
at the window. Flat Rock.
Flat Rock.
Yeah, I
Flat
haven't
Rock
seen
will be
him
down
in a
there with
while.
us.
Either, yeah.
Oh, I wanted to say, Jessica, that I actually talked a lot with Jeff Townsend
Oh,
right
Jeff.
before he passed, and
Yeah.
Yeah,
I know you guys were close.
we were. Yes, we were. He was one of my besties. That was my security guard, man.
Yeah, he was a
And,
good guy.
And
I
he
just
had
love
some
Jeff.
he had some stuff happen to him too.
He did. He came on my show and talked about it.
Yeah.
He and his friend Donnie at the goat rescue
Yes,
down in
Donnie.
Florida.
Yep.
Yeah, Donnie.
And the goat rescue.
They had dogman encounters and all sorts of weird stuff happened down there. He actually saw a female dog woman and described her breasts and everything. But he had a sight. He had a scope on a dogman, and he decided not to. He couldn't pull the trigger. He said he wouldn't pull the trigger on it. It knew that he had the sight on him. So yeah, I've got that interview on my channel actually. Him and Mark Maychek, Mark and Jeff have both passed away, and we all three did a show together a couple years ago, and it's a very special show, man. But Jeff was a very special person. He lived not even 15, 20 minutes from me, and we used to meet up and go hang out and all sorts of stuff. I just love Jeff. I miss him. Good people, man. You know, he worked for Lockheed Martin actually. A lot of people don't know that he worked for Lockheed Martin. He was one of the floor managers or something. He worked on the aircraft and stuff out there at Lockheed. So, anyways,
things you learn.
Yep.
I saw them first time on Carrie Arnold stuff years ago.
I wish some of the people there's a lot of people I wish I had gotten to have on. Unfortunately, you know.
In time.
Yeah.
It happens, unfortunately. Okay, I'm bailing.
We had a great night.
Yep.
It was nice meeting y'all.
Yeah,
Nice meeting you, Jessica. Thank you for coming on.
Thank y'all so much. I will see y'all again.
Get you back. Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Okay. All good.
Night, everybody.
See everybody next Tuesday.